I want nothing to do with my partner's sister. She outright hates me.
Well, yeah, that sounds about right.
Nothing a little girl's trip can't fix. I, 24 female, have been with my partner, let's call him Mike, 30 male, for the last 7 years. We have no children together, but have been living together for the past 5 years. And last year, buying our first home. All right. The first year of our relationship, I had no contact with his family as I was worried they would think of my age, 18 at the time. When I would eventually meet them, it was Christmas Day, and I was invited for their family game night and drinks, and they seemed so lovely and even had a gift for me. Everyone there except his sister-in-law, who was spending her last Christmas at home with her family, as she was pregnant and would be starting her own family tradition with Mike's brother, John, next year. By the way, this comes from Blue Lagoons 2000 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I met his sister-in-law, let's call her Annie, 29 female, on New Year's, and she was very cold towards me. I pushed this aside as I assumed it was her keeping her guard up as she looked at Mike as a brother and was protective of him. Fast forward 3 months into meeting his family. Now, a year and a half together. His sister, let's call her Agatha, 28 female, and mom, let's call her Janice, 52 female, mentioned that Annie wasn't very talkative to me and wanted to know if I had noticed it or if I had cared. I said I had noticed, but just assumed that that's how she was, and she was pregnant, so it could be hormonal, but I didn't put a pass on it, as Mike said it takes her a while to open up, but once she does, I'll love her as she's very like me and my family. Conspiracy theory. She wanted Mike's baby, not John's.
Oh, that's a good one.
His mom and Agatha laughed at this and said, we think it's the age thing Annie has an issue with. This didn't sit well with me, so I told Mike later that day, and we went home, and he was so shocked that they had said that, as Annie and John had a 5-year gap, so he doesn't see how she'd have an issue with our age gap being 6 years.
Which that's honestly not even that weird of an age gap.
Because
I mean, it'd be like, it depends on the ages for that to be weird.
So
you know?
she, 24 and 30, what is 24 minus 18?
24 minus 18
Wait, no.
is 6.
So he was 24 and she was 18 when they met. So it was like me getting with an 18-year-old.
Yeah, well, that can be kind of,
but they can't say anything because John, that was 24, got together with a 19-year-old.
Yeah, but exactly. It's like and it's hard, like age gap stuff. It's hard.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's hard to know. Every situation's different.
Over months, Agatha and Janice kept mentioning Annie to me, saying how she really doesn't like me and how she said she didn't want me around her new baby as I was a stranger and basically a kid myself. But she blames me for Mike and his ex-partner splitting up, and she wished I would F off so Mike and his ex could get back together and make everyone else happy. We got the real motive here. The real problem is Annie wants Mark to get back with his ex.
This family is
wild. I am now going to add periods and commas as OP has not provided them. Obviously, this upset me, but I told Janice and Agatha that it's her decision, and if that's how she feels, I can't change her mind. I will be polite to her, but not to make an effort for a friendship. I told Mike what was said, and he was not happy. He mentioned to John about it all, and John's reply was, they are two very different people. Why force them to get along if they don't want to? This caused a tiff, and Mike took a step back from John and Anne and their new baby, Eve.
That is a weird take to be like someone who's like in your family, essentially just being like, no, just let them not like each other. We don't want any peace. I don't want peace. I want problems always.
Yeah, why are we doing this? Like, what the heck? I don't like that.
It's a bad take. Yeah. It's just a take of like, no, we don't care. And honestly, I feel like he doesn't like him either just because of that. Like,
oh, yeah. I don't know. I felt awful about the situation, but appreciated Mike standing up for me. During this time, I had grown very close with Agatha and Janice and would call down to them on my days off work, even if Mike wasn't with me. Fast forward a couple more months. Mike and John mend their relationship, but stay distant as they don't want Annie and myself in awkward situations. The virus hit, and Mike and I decided to leave our home and move states in with his mom and dad, Jim, still paying rent in our home. Agatha and her husband, Alan, 28 male, and son, Alfie, also live with Janice and Jim. So we're all here in a bubble together. This made myself, Agatha, and Janice even closer than before. Basically, best friends. We would spend so much time together, laughing, playing, game nights, movie nights, pamper nights, everything. I honestly felt so loved and welcomed into their family. During this time, John, Annie, and Eve would come over for dinner every Thursday night, with Annie and Eve coming up to spend the day with us girls and Alfie. Agatha started making sly remarks to me about Annie that made me feel uncomfortable. She would say, "Here comes our bestie," and laugh, or "Here comes the only mother in the world 'cause she worked in childcare." I never responded, as I didn't understand why she would say anything, as myself and Annie weren't really on talking terms, but never made it awkward for anyone else. I mentioned all this to Mike, and he agreed that there's no need to say anything and told me to just be careful with Agatha. She can stir crap. All right, Mike and I moved back home, but we all continued going for Thursday dinner nights as a family. During this time, I noticed Alan was being quite rude to me. I ignored it and continued on with life, not thinking much, as I had only seen him once a week. Come November, lockdown hit again, and we decided to move back in with his family, but this time, Mike was still working, so it would mean I'd be with his family alone during the days. No issues with this at all. I just thought I had a great relationship with them. Alan would pick on me during the day, but he would be so lovely when Mike was around. He would call me names, make fun of my appearance, and bring up things from my family regarding how my siblings passed away.
What?
Over the few weeks we stayed there, it started to take a huge toll on my mental health, and Mike began noticing this but didn't know what was happening, as I didn't want to tell him to keep the peace. One Wednesday, myself, Agatha, and Alan were sat down on the couch chatting away about my childhood and how it was strange that my hometown is Mike's dad's hometown, but we never crossed paths, when Alan turned around and asked, "Which part of this story did your sister get sick of looking at you and she decided to finish herself?"
Number 14.
Yep.
Number 14 for this guy.
There
No,
we
this
go.
guy,
Wow.
very seldom do I advocate like the Muhammad Ali, just a quick straight right. Just a quick straight right. Pop him in the mouth. That's crazy.
I was so taken aback by this and expected Agatha or Janice to say something, but instead they just laughed like he told the funniest joke. You know, Dakota was right. Dakota called this from the start. He had a gut feeling that this was weird and this family had something wrong with them. And I was like, I don't see anything. But this man right here, he freaking called it. He knew.
I wish I didn't, because this is so terrible.
He knew.
These people are trash.
I left the room and went to our bedroom and sobbed. I could not believe he said that, but I especially couldn't believe they laughed. I stayed in the room the rest of the day until Mike came home. When he asked where I was, they lied and said I told them I was going for a walk. Mike soon came up to find me and saw how extremely upset I was. When I told him what happened, he wanted to go and confront Alan, but I begged him to leave it to keep the peace, so we left the house and went to Annie and John's house. So bear in mind, Annie and I were still not on really good speaking terms, so it was awkward at first. John and Mike went out to John's home gym so Mike could cool off some anger, so I was left with Annie. She seemed to notice something was up and began asking questions. When I broke down and opened up to her about everything that had happened and what had been said. Okay, two things are about to happen here. One, she's about to be an evil person. Or two, the same thing happened to Annie. Thus, that's why she's been on the outskirts.
I hope Annie is like, okay, yeah, this is, because they all suck. Yes.
Yeah.
This makes sense because they all suck. And I love you.
Yeah.
I really, really, really want that to be what happens next.
To my surprise, she laughed when I mentioned what Janice and Agatha had said about her. Turns out they were doing the same thing to her about me, and had told her I was a one-night stand Mike brought home on Christmas Day. And when they told me Annie had Eve, I apparently said, the poor child, imagine having an unfit mother like her. Myself and Andy ended up having a full heart-to-heart conversation about everything and realized that Agatha and Janice were trying to turn us against one another. So the boys would no longer be friends / on speaking terms. Holy freaking crap.
Dude, imagine being exposed this hard. Like, you're imagine having your devious plot just completely put out in the open organically because you're just so awful. They can't help but like talk to each other about it. And they're like, wait a minute. Well, they said some awful stuff about you to me. It's like, oh, that's not real.
Yeah.
None of that is true. I didn't say any of that.
Yeah.
It's like, man.
Dude, that's crazy. Fast forward a few years later, Annie and myself were best friends. And Agatha and Janice are not happy about it so much that they kept making up lies and dragging us into arguments we weren't involved in. We tried to keep the peace and went on a family holiday. Me, Mike, Annie, John, and their 2 kids, Eve and Ava. Janice and Jim, Agatha, Alan, and their 2 kids, Alfie and Chase. We had lots planned and everyone was getting on when Agatha decided to have a temper tantrum because she wanted to go to an Indian restaurant and most of us wanted to go to an Italian restaurant for food. I turned to Mike and said, I don't like Indian food, so I'm not going to go, but he was more than welcome to go and I will stay back at the hotel to have food and drinks and we'll catch up with everyone after. By the way, you can catch up with us because we have stories just like this on our podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, whatever you listen to your podcast on. Just search OK Storytime for stories like this. But we have a little bit left. What are we thinking here?
I'm thinking lifelong best friends with Annie.
Yep.
And with the good members.
Mm-hmm.
And literally just nothing to the bad members.
Yeah.
Don't go out of your way to like get revenge or like expose them. Just nothing these people.
Mike said no, he would stay with me and we will follow everyone out afterwards. This hit a nerve with Agatha and she started shouting abuse towards me as I told her to shut up and that she's making a show of herself. And she said, and I quote, who do you think you're telling to shut up? You are not a part of this family. You never will be. A family holiday is for family only. And seeing as you can't have kids, you will never be family. So what are you doing here? This obviously didn't settle well with me, so I called her out for the way she acted with me and Annie, and that I can afford to go on holiday, whereas she used her daddy's money to come on this holiday. Mike's mom and dad were furious that I spoke to Agatha the way I did and are demanding an apology of me to Agatha. But I'm refusing to apologize as I don't think I'm in the wrong here and told Mike that I won't be apologizing because I don't think I've done anything wrong and don't want anything to do with this family ever again, other than his brother and sister-in-law and their kids. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? No. Yeah, Dakota's taking a breath here.
If Agatha had said that to me, you know the scene from Spider-Man, I think I've used this example before, where the Green Goblin is just tackling him through like multiple floors of a building. Yeah. That would be my instinct.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think I would just go blind with rage, which I'm not advocating to do because that is not a good thing. But oh my God, Agatha and Alan are a perfect match for each other because they are both insufferable dumpster fires of people. Like, that's insanity.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, dude. I don't like it.
I don't. And you know what? I fully support going no contact with anybody who supports those people. Yeah. Especially anyone who is saying that you need to apologize to them after the way that they've treated you and spoken to you and spoken about like the trauma that has happened to you. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's wild.
Also, where's your husband?
Yeah.
Backing you up. Your husband should be backing you way up. And if he doesn't know what's going on, you need to tell him.
Yep, exactly.
He needs to be informed.
My boyfriend and I are having more and more problems. How can I break this cycle?
Break up with them.
To begin with, yes, I 26 female, love him 52 male.
Oh, age gap in the room.
Okay. And I'm sure he loves me and has good intentions towards me.
I'm sure of it.
I'm sure.
I'm really sure of it.
Here is a background on us so you don't judge based on age difference. We met 2 years ago at a cafe and instantly fell head over heels for each other. So I hope he was 24.
I bet after he bought your coffee and croissant, you did.
Our relationship has experienced incredible highs, but also many lows that often feel unbearable. By the way, this comes from Patekillionaire on the OK Storytime subreddit. So we get along on many fronts, and he is my best friend. He is my world and my everything. As for me, I can be a tough character. I have high expectations, tend to see things in black and white, and can become reactive and emotional quite easily.
At least you're self-aware. Seriously.
She also sees things in black and red when things aren't making profit. Do you know what Black Friday is?
Yeah.
Do you know why they call it Black Friday?
No.
Because all the sales are in black. Because if you are losing profit, the sales are in red. The market is red, so it's black. So black and red means you see things in profit and loss because she's about the money.
See, you just got some lexicon.
Yeah, dude. Are you warm from that?
To get a little warm.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry.
On the other hand, he has a quick temper, a big ego, and can be very cold and harsh,
Oh.
not just with me, and will avoid admitting his mistakes at any cost.
Sounds like a good guy.
For the past 2 years, we have grown so close to one another. I understand and love him, and he the same for me. We have strong love, bond, chemistry, and connection. Over the past 6 months, his mother has been getting sick, and his business is struggling. He has become extremely stressed, gained weight, which affected his self-esteem, and has been socially distancing himself from his friends. I try to encourage him to go out, but he has this internal resistance. He's hurting, and it hurts me to see him like this. Despite my best efforts to be supportive, we often end up arguing over trivial matters, and most of the time, it's my fault for instigating. I have been trying to be there for him, but it feels like I'm walking on eggshells due to the high stress of the situation. I keep holding all my feelings to myself and then suddenly bursting at him unreasonably. Here are the main problems we tend to argue about. I get jealous of how he looks at other girls and the way he sometimes interacts with them, which can be overly touchy. He has worked a lot on this issue, and I appreciate his efforts. Recently, I discovered some things about his past relationships. For him, the past is a taboo topic, and he failed to give a reasonable answer when I asked about it. I kept bringing it up because it felt unresolved, and each time it would blow up to a full-fledged fight. Only now, after he apologized on this front, I can move past this topic, as I don't think it's worth losing him over.
If someone doesn't want to be transparent about their past with you,
It's
then
such
they're
a huge
not
red
being
flag.
transparent with who they are as a human.
Yeah.
Sure, our past doesn't completely define us, but it informs us.
Yeah. I mean,
It's the context for who we are.
also just like if someone's like, if I'm like, hey, like, you know, where'd you grow up? What did you do for?
I don't talk about that.
And they said, I can't tell you that. I'd be like so sussed. He says that he is gaining weight because of me, since we go out and order a lot, but personally, I don't eat much, so he ends up eating everything.
Yep, that happened to me.
What?
Wait, what
Yep.
happened to you?
You just start
Yep.
eating everything?
My girlfriend 2 years ago would be eating something, and then she's like, I can't finish it. Then I would finish it, and then I get bigger. But now I can't even steal anything off of Angie's plate because she eats it all.
Oh yeah, no, I eat all my food. Don't.
Oh, I love when people can't eat their food because I just go at it.
He blames me for a lot of the bad things going on in his life. It feels like I'm being his punching bag, but it's okay. I'm literally the only one there for him. But this makes me react sometimes and start a fight. Physical intimacy has been decreasing, but when we actually make love, it's amazing.
Ooh.
And there's a noticeable lack of affection, and he knows that physical touch is my love language, so sometimes it feels like he is intentionally holding back to teach me a lesson. I am a very attractive woman and receive a lot of attention
Prove it.
from others, but none of it matters to me except for his attention. His lack of affection makes me feel unattractive. When I expressed this to him, he told me that he sees me as beautiful, but doesn't know why he struggles to give compliments. But this lack of affection does make me start creating issues.
So Riley, she's with him not only because of the money, but because of the lovemaking.
What a little 2 blue pills can do.
When it comes to planning priorities, he focuses on trips and holidays, while I feel we need to sit down and discuss our future, including the potential for marriage. In the past, he has said that he is ready to get married at any time, but doesn't want to be selfish due to our age gap and wants me to be sure. He often does cute gestures around house planning, gives thoughtful gifts, and drops hints by calling me Mrs. and similar terms, but he never directly brings up the subject of marriage. I did tell him that I want to see him more proactive on this front, yet he keeps saying that I am I'm responsible for starting this topic as well, and this feels like an excuse.
But come on.
What does it mean for
Dude.
someone to be proactive around?
It feels like he is trying to string her along, with the talk of, oh, Mrs. and other, marriage stuff, but is not actually going to marry her.
You don't think he's committed to this?
No, I don't think so. And then the second thing is that he's blaming everything on her because he's unsatisfied with his life. And he's also just trying, like, the power dynamics are very apparent here, where he has the job and the money and the age and experience, and he is like blaming her for like being immature, for not understanding. He's like, oh, and putting everything on her. Overall, I'm a positive person and don't complain much. However, he gets very angry when I become emotional, especially when I tear up while discussing a topic or expressing that I'm hurt. In these moments, he refuses to listen to me. He wants me to be positive all the time, while I feel like he's constantly negative and complaining.
If a partner doesn't have the capacity to give you the space to experience your emotions, not a good ground for a relationship.
No, I mean, you're saying he refuses to listen to you. He's acting like a child, which makes sense why he's dating a 26-year-old, because what are you doing, dude? He is very big in size, and when he gets angry, it gets scary. But recently, he has progressed a lot on his temper, while I have not progressed on my points for improvement. And now he's probably saying, I've changed for you and you haven't done anything. So he's probably actively like putting these thoughts in her head, saying like, oh, you haven't progressed at all.
I can't even keep track of like all the dysfunctionality going on right here.
When we argue, he needs space and lots. Max 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Where he shuts me out completely and even blocks me. Girl,
Wow.
girl, that is never acceptable.
50-year-old man.
52-year-old man.
That is blocking his partner when he needs space
He throws a tantrum and literally ghosts you for 3 weeks.
Sure, yeah. People need space after conflict, but 3 weeks
is
and
insane.
blocking
3
is
weeks
something
with
else
no
than
contact
space.
is crazy. What I need advice on: break up. That's the only advice you need. 2 weeks ago, we met up after a very stressful business trip of his, and I ended up expressing my frustration about the issue in our relationship. I said things as they were, but some of my words were harsh. I regret those words, as they were unresolved emotions from my end, and I could have delivered them in a much more loving and constructive way. I often let us down like this, and the aftermath is unbearable. This is
Don't take
someone
it
who has
full
been so
responsibility.
gaslit. Like, you can tell in the way that she's writing.
In the way she's writing, she's taking all of it as her fault.
Yes, she's taking all of the responsibility for everything in this relationship, when it's clear that he is icing her out and literally scaring her. He wanted a 10-day break. A 10-day break? Which devastated me and made me feel like I had lost my purpose. When we met up after the 10 days, things seemed okay at first. However, when we started reflecting on what happened, I got emotional and teared up a bit at the restaurant, and he didn't want to listen. He is still being distant, and when we bumped into each other yesterday at a cafe, there was tension. He is very fed up with me, thinks I'm childish, and says he can't continue like this. The audacity. He pointed out that we always go through this cycle, which I agree with. Usually we talk it out and make love, but this time he needs to see material change from my end before we get back together. And now he's like putting this on her. He's like, well, you need to shape up. You need to be better. You need to meet my standards. He is losing the attraction to me and says that I am pushing him away.
He's
he
like,
said that
every
maybe
time
we meet up on Friday, but he will see.
He's like, every time you get sad, it's such a turnoff.
Like, he's literally like gaslighting her and stringing her along and making everything her fault.
It's okay. He has enough funds to buy another one, I think.
You know who you'll meet up with? Us. If you join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Just tap our profile. Does this sound like a breakup, or is he giving me a last chance? I don't want to hurt him, and I want to be more supportive, especially during the rough times. I know that some of the harsh things he said are coming from a place of hurt, and mainly hurt I caused. How can I show change in my behavior to support my word and feelings for him? How can I save my relationship? OP, you don't. You break up with him.
Yep.
He is manipulating you and putting everything on you, and there is no relationship to save. I know that you said that the age gap does not matter, but it does when he is acting like a child. And the power dynamics are very clearly in play here.
Is this the relationship that you want to save?
Sometimes when you break a vase, you clean up the pieces and you put it back together. Sometimes you just leave it.
Just
Leave it alone.
Throw it out.
We don't know the full story, but it seems
Agreed.
like anything that happens, whether it's like you just being sad, you are made to be the villain in the relationship.
But this is the end of that story. So let's get into the next one.
I caught my fiance cheating with my father.
Oh, daddy?
No! So me, 27 male, fiance, 26 female, call her L. My father, 52 male. So those are the characters, 27, 26, and 52. And we're going to call L Lauren for ease of remembering. And we'll call, sorry.
Hey, you know what? The same name popped in my head. It's the first L name I think of. I can't even lie.
And father, we'll call him Brad. And mother, 50F, we'll call her Rachel.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say Rachel.
Like many who have had something like this happen, I never thought something like this would happen to me.
Can't blame you.
But here we are. By the way, this comes from Throwaway 556 UMP. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So I've never used Reddit, but I've seen stories from here on TikTok. So I thought I'd give this a shot for any advice you all could give me. From listening to some other stories, you all like backstory. So I'm going to be clear and precise as I can be. But it's only been a week. So if I start to lose it during telling of the story, I am sorry. Lauren and I met in her freshman year of college. We were both dorming in the same building where we eventually met. We later found out we lived 2 towns away from each other. So whenever we went home, I let her drive with me. Ooh, a little
Short trip to
lovely
Bonetown.
drive. Yeah, exactly.
Short trip.
You go right in the back seat.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Or less.
Or less. I
Or
mean,
2
2
15
seconds just to
seconds.
go
You know?
back there. It only added like 20 minutes, so it was no big deal. And that's, 19 minutes of boning, 1 minute of drive
Exactly.
time.
To be precise.
After multiple trips and hanging out at school, we started to date. Nice. I have a close-knit family, as did she, so we told our families right away. I had met hers plenty of times when dropping her off. But it was nothing more than an introduction and exchanging pleasantries, so nothing's happened yet. Both of our families accepted each other with open arms, and our relationship grew. I was a year ahead of her, so when I graduated, I went home where I was offered a good job with great pay. I visited her at school whenever I got the chance, and whenever she came home, we would make time for each other. Okay, so it's like a cute little relationship. After she graduated, she moved in with me as both of our jobs were in the city near where we grew up. Like me, she was offered a position at the company she works at now with great pay.
Just keeps getting better.
Nothing could go wrong here,
Nothing.
John. Nothing.
Perfect.
After living together for about 3 years, I proposed.
Whoa.
And we have been planning our wedding since. Now on to the part you are all reading for. Looking back, there was plenty of things I overlooked. I just wrote off thinking my father was trying to welcome my ex into our family. He's just being extra friendly.
Heard of open arms, but open
Loins.
hands? That's too much of an
That's
open policy.
too much. That's too much.
Too open. Let's
Yeah.
close it down a bit.
You don't want to have to compete with your dad.
Golly,
Yeah.
I hope not.
God. Oh, things like my father calling her all the time. And if I was around, they would just tell me they were talking about some upcoming family party or something along those lines. Oh, that's not what you want to call an order. One time, Lauren was in the shower. Oh, and her phone rang. I saw it was my dad. So I answered when he realized it was me. He sounded both upset and surprised that I picked up. Then I asked, "What's up?" And he responded that he wanted to talk to Lauren about my mother's birthday that was in a week. And after a minute, we ended the call. Even typing this out now, I feel like an idiot for not seeing it sooner.
Also, the name choice for fiance is negatively compounding very quickly for me. Put in the comments if you know. You know.
Oh, man. Oh. On the day I found out, it was like any other day. Lauren had Thursdays off, so she made breakfast for both of us. When I set out for work, she gave me a kiss and told me to have a great day. During my drive to work, I realized I had forgotten some paperwork. Oh, no. That I would need for a meeting I had at 3 p.m. I shrugged it off and told myself I would go home at lunch to get it. Lauren texted me throughout the day, talking about all the casual stuff a couple talks about, like, what do you want to do for dinner? I did the laundry. Do you want me to hang it up for you? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't think it was necessary to tell her I was coming home for lunch, so when it came around, I just left work and went home. Put I see you in the chat if you know where this is going.
She's going to be eating something, but it ain't lunch.
that extra protein.
Oh no.
I just left work and went home. When I got home, I noticed a car that looked like my father's in our parking lot, but I didn't think anything of it and just parked and went into our building. When I opened the door, I was met with a scene out of a movie where a man comes home early and catches his spouse cheating. Such a cliche. There was a trail of clothes.
Not a trail.
I mean, that's how you know the foreplay was good, you know?
Oh,
A little trail, one piece near the door, one piece in the living room. Daddy knows how to take his time. He's got the experience.
God.
There was a trail of clothes, both his and hers, leading to my bedroom. And the sound of faint moans, at least they were faint, echoed through my apartment. I stood at the door in utter shock. My brain was a mix of rage, sadness, and disgust. But if you were a fly on my wall, which I would never want to be, you would see what looked like a statue. I just couldn't move. When I finally snapped, not knowing how much time had passed, I took out my phone to record. I picked up all the clothes that were on the floor. Why? And threw them into the hall of the building. After I filmed the walk to my bedroom, the door was open. I stood in the doorway filming for about a minute.
Oh, dude.
A minute?
I mean,
A minute?
That's so long. Like think about
would
that.
feel like an eternity.
Larry, so I'm here with the phone. It goes, like I'm still there. We're only 10 seconds in.
Oh my God.
That was
We're 10 seconds in.
10 seconds right now.
Oh, I can't
That's
take
10 seconds.
I can't take
Six
six
times
times
that.
longer than that. I cannot take six. Dude, OP, why are you doing this to yourself? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like why?
Maybe the most I could give you is like
You
I
want to
would
be sure.
Yeah, you go and you immediately turn the lights on and then boom, they're there. It's obvious. And
Yeah.
I'm literally like, I'm talking like phone in the door. My head is like out the door.
Anna Marie says maybe he low-key liked it. Gross, Anna Marie. Gross. It's one thing to be a cuck, but it's another thing to
dude.
be a familial daddy cuck.
Again, the name is compounding very negatively for me.
So yeah, I stood in the door filming for a minute, then flipped on the lights. They both jumped at the sudden light and looked at me. And to my utter shock, it was my father in bed with her. After the initial stun, my father noticed I was recording and started to panic, trying to find anything to cover himself and telling me to stop recording. He found a towel and wrapped it around himself and started to walk towards me. I told him, if you don't want to get hurt, stop coming to me.
Oh, that's what they were saying.
Oh, don't
Why
come to
me?
me. Come to her.
God. Oh, dude.
Poor choice of words with the stop coming to me.
Dude, OP's sus, but like, this is bad. This is
I
just
don't like
bad.
this.
This is just awful. This is just horrendous.
He either didn't care or didn't hear me and reached for my phone. I hit him square in the jaw. Yikes. His head bounced off the door and he slumped to the ground.
Yo, hope he's throwing some hands.
Lauren shrieked. I aimed the camera at Lauren and said, concerned about your F buddy, but nothing to say to your fiancé? My father woke up about after a minute nap, and I told them I just needed to come pick something up from work, so I'm heading back now. If either of you pieces of crap are here, when I get back, I'll send this video to everyone you know. I ended the video, looked at my dad, who was still coming to, and said, you are unalive to me. You're no longer my father, but you might want to go home and talk to mom because I'll be talking to her very soon. We sat in the car for a while until one of the bosses at work called to ask where I was. I told her I was on my way back right now. When I got to her office to hand her the paperwork, I must have looked awful because she started asking what was wrong with me. I told her it was nothing and I'd be okay. When it was the most amount of thing.
I think, hey, buddy, you can have a little time off. Riley.
How do you tell that to your boss though? Like,
Wait, what?
Riley, if that happened to you, what would you tell us?
What would you say to us?
What would you say it on the show?
What do I say to the show?
No. What would you say to us? Like, you're like, hey guys, I gotta take a break because
My dad's boning my girl, dude. God, I don't even know where to start.
right?
At first, I'd probably be like, guys, I have a family emergency.
Yeah.
Because the dad's involved.
Emphasis on family.
Family, and then take a day, take a beat, and then come back and be like, all right, here's the tea.
Yeah.
At first, I'd probably be too embarrassed to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like, yeah.
Embarrassment. That's rough.
Yeah.
That is
I
rough.
see where he says there. What would you say, John?
Dude. This one's a little too close to home. This one's hitting a little too close to home. With all the names.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like, huh?
Lauren is my sister's name.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, it's like family emergency red alert. I'm gonna have to tell you later because that is just
Diabolical.
I would be lost for words in that moment of like what to tell anyone.
We all know what's gonna happen to Sam's dad, though. He's gone. Your mom finds out.
Dead. I don't know what my mom would do.
Put it
my
in the
mom
newspaper.
My dad would never though. He's too in love with my mom.
Yeah, man.
True.
Heart of gold that man has.
I told her it was nothing and I'd be okay. I could see her scanning me up and down. Maybe consolation prize here. And she noticed some blood on my collar. She stood up, rushed to me and said, "You're bleeding." I looked down and says, "It was my father's."
Okay. I don't know why that's a bar and it's bad that it is, but it is for some reason.
Maybe you and the boss got a little something. She looked confused. So I pulled out my phone and showed her the
Stop it! Stop it. It's too much. I get that you're mad, but this is not the thing to do. I get you've been wrong, but this is not the thing to do.
Bro, who does that? I pulled out the phone and showed her the video. Okay, OP.
Wait, this is a plot. Ming Ming says this is a plot in a Cornhub video. Sounds
I
like
mean,
it.
I can imagine.
Oh,
She watched it in its entirety.
dude.
She was introduced to Lauren a few times, but never my father. She sat there silent for a moment until I finally clicked that my fiance was cheating on me. But not only was she cheating, it was with my father. She asked if there was something she could do. Is there anything I could do?
Oh, no. Oh, no. That would be, I mean, honestly, Hail Mary conspiracy theory, that would be pretty crazy.
Again, consolation prize.
Ends up getting with the boss.
Ozzy Girl says, "You don't show your boss." Harriet Spaghetti says, "OP is in shock, guys." Okay, sure, yeah. I guess. But who freaking does? I mean, only someone that is like so deeply, they're traumatized. OP is traumatized.
For sure. And
so
you
it's
know,
probably making decisions that no one in their right mind would make.
and you know what? To be honest, the three of us haven't been in this situation.
That's true.
Right?
Right?
Okay.
Riley?
Good.
Okay.
Just double checking.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe, but dude, what if the boss ends up getting with OP just to then
Get with
to
his
the
dad.
Why did she watch the whole video?
Yeah,
And
dude.
she's like, clearly,
like,
this is the
"Ooh."
path to get you to your dad.
Not
Oh,
the daddy kink, says
Dude,
Riley.
this story is making Sam sick, guys.
Oh,
Me
no.
too, to be honest.
She asked if there was anything she could do, suggesting I take some time off, but I told her I can't go back there right now. I just need a minute, and I'll be fine for the meeting. I have another shirt in my office. The meeting went over fine. I put on a smile for everyone like nothing had happened. My boss came up to me after the meeting and asked how I could do that, but I just said, "I don't know." I feel like OP's acting all cool and mysterious.
Yeah.
And went to my office. I then came home and I was alone for the first time in a very long time. Thank you for reading. I'm sorry I carried on so much, but it was therapeutic getting everything down. I just don't know what to do. I definitely need to get the heck out of this apartment. I just can't live here anymore, and there's no possible way I'm sleeping in that bed. I know not only do I have to go get checked for STDs, but I think I broke something in my hand, and there are some comments and some updates. But what should OP do? Should OP get out of the apartment? Should OP kick the fiance out? You know, do we? All right, here's a difficult question.
Mm-hmm.
Do we end the engagement?
You know what? I'm going to just go real crazy here. I'm just really just going to throw an insane idea out there.
Yeah. Hit me with it.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Also,
man.
I just have to say,
Yeah,
Opie's
say
going to
it.
have to get this test because imagine if it comes back positive from his own father. I know a lot of things are passed down father to son, but that should never be one of them.
I mean, and daddy's got Riz, so he might have stacked some STDs like Pokemon cards, you know? He's got them up his wazoo.
I mean, he's getting with a woman half his age and who's engaged to his son. I mean,
Yeah,
bro's
dude.
Riz is literally astronomical.
Astronomical.
Oh, Riz Aldrin. Golly.
Geriatric Riz.
Geriatric Riz. Even I don't have that.
Oh. But we got some comments. So glad you found out before the wedding. 2, yep, dodge an even worse situation. And OP does not need to feel stupid. There's no reason anyone should have been suspicious of their fiance and father. Shaking my head, so screwed up. I'd be surprised if anyone suspected that over phone calls. They're 2 messed up individuals. Cut them both out of your life for good. Don't even give them the chance to explain or apologize. It would just ease their conscience not to help you. And tell your mother ASAP before he starts spreading lies or stealing marital assets knowing he's screwed. Yeah, I think like if he believes he's caught and his life is going to implode, he might do everything in his power to like get ahead of it. And so he might try to screw over the mom. But yeah, I guess tell her as soon as possible because you already know the truth, you know?
Yeah, and like just reading into how he was reacting, I mean, I guess that's how anyone would react if they're caught in that situation, but it's like he seemed pretty desperate. He does not want that to get out.
Yeah. Dude.
Which makes sense.
So comment 3, OP, sorry you're here. Tell your mother she needs to know about your piece of S dad. After your mom punts him out, you could stay there until you find a new place. Tell your ex's fiance they should know what they raised. The fiance will make crap up on why you broke off the engagement because of how crappy it was and is. You certainly won't know. She's free to tell them anything she wants. Talk to the landlord about moving to a different apartment or breaking the lease or letting your ex take the apartment. Update when you can. Oh, sharing gene pools and pool toys.
We don't like that.
Oh, God.
Guys.
Kimberly, fine.
Kimberly, we don't like that. We don't like that.
That is hilarious.
And there is an update.
Oh.
Hello, everyone. I didn't expect to come back to Reddit and have this much support. I didn't really plan to update at all. I just wanted to put what had happened out there and hopefully get some advice. After I wrote down all that happened, I closed my computer and kind of fell into a depression. Yeah, after I posted.
Finally.
It hit me like a train. Big old yikes. To the ones who think it's fake, I wish I was this creative. I'd write books instead of working a 9 to 5. Ugh. I'll try to reply more on this post. I just logged back. And it was honestly too much to try and reply to every comment. Just know I read through most of them and I truly appreciate everyone's inputs, both negative and positive. So the day after I posted, I tried to get into contact with my mother, but none of my calls were connecting.
What is happening?
Uh-oh. Oh, did the father block OP on the mom's phone?
Dude, yeah.
Cut the whole family line.
Whoa.
Disable everyone's number. Forget blocking. I'm the head of the family on the family plan. No more family plan. No more phones.
I wanted to see if she would get lunch with me and I'd tell her everything. After about a dozen tries, put ICU in the chat if you see where it's going, I decided to get into my car and go to my mother's house. She needed to know what happened as soon as possible, even if talking about it was going to make it hurt all over again. During the drive, I thought about what I would say and how I would say it, that it made me start to panic. I had to pull over twice to throw up. It's not every day you have to tell your mom that her husband is screwing your fiance.
Yeah.
I pulled into the driveway and sat in my car for a moment to calm down and gather my thoughts. I was in my car for a few moments when my mother threw her front door open. So I stepped out of the car. She started cursing at me, saying, how dare I come to her home after I hit my father for trying to break up a fight between Lauren and I.
Mama,
oh my God.
You got
She
some wrong
called me
information.
every name in the book and called me an abuser. She told me I needed to leave since Lauren isn't ready to forgive me yet, and that if she's smart, she hopefully never will. Yes, apparently my father took Lauren to my family's home and told my mom that Lauren and I argued, and when my father tried to stop it, I hit him. That is so low.
Bro, and you know you're going to get caught. Like, he has the video. What are you doing?
But maybe if she gets him mad enough, if the father gets the mother mad enough,
Right.
she won't even listen. She won't even listen to reason. And so potentially they could get away with it.
That is the only shot they have. If they want to continue and be like, all right, let's be lying, disgusting scumbags, but we don't want to get caught or face the repercussions. That's all they can do.
It's on it. Yeah. It's like, it could potentially work, but not for that long. She continued for a while until I finally snapped and said, "Really, Mom? Because your husband is effing my fiance. That's why I hit him. And if you can't take my word for it, I have a video. I'll send it to you. But because my own mother can't talk to me like this, don't expect to see me again. I don't want to hear your apology when you finally figure out that you're just as crappy of a mom as my piece of crap father."
She's being fed lies.
Yeah. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
Her face dropped. She looked like what I must have looked like when I first walked into my apartment and caught them. I pulled out my phone and sent her the video. My mom took hers out, turned it on. She pulled up the video and watched up until the part where I turned the lights. She then put her phone down.
Thank you. That's what a sane person does.
She looked up at me, but I turned and went into my car. I backed out of the driveway. I looked at her before I took off, and she was in tears. My heart felt for her, but too much was said during that fight for me to pull back in and forgive her. I don't know, man.
Yeah, dude.
I disagree.
She's angry.
Actual Drop Bear says, give her a chance to understand. Heidi says he's mad. Yeah, I think that's also fair. Like, he's mad.
Yeah. Again, back to this is just an insane scenario that he's just like a psychotic break, right? Whatever they call it.
Exactly. Yeah. He's not in his right mind. When I got home, I started clearing everything out of my apartment that had to do with Lauren or my family. I boxed all of Lauren's things, put them next to the front door. Legally, this has been her place of residence, so I can't technically punt her out, which is true. Like, if she's on the lease. Her name is not on the lease.
Oh.
But it's her place of residence, so I think it still she might have some
the laws be protecting her.
Also, she's the type of person who shies away from conflict, and if she returns other than to pick her things up, there will be plenty of conflict.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that had to do with my parents, I boxed up and put in storage. Like I said in my first post, we were a very close family. I mean, it seems like it.
I literally, oh, God. I forgot about that.
Seems like it.
Honestly, she is a close family, too. Do we go a little tit for tat? Emphasis on not the tat.
What, you mean because OP's dad slept with his fiance, OP sleeps with his wife? I don't know if that would work how you want it to work.
No. No. With Lauren's mom.
Oh, with Lauren's mom.
Okay.
You've heard of her fighting fire with fire? How about fighting fire with a volcano? With a nuclear reactor?
All right.
I like this.
I don't know if I like this, but in theory, I think it's fun.
It's insane. Don't do it. Don't do it, OP. He actually would.
Like I said in my first post, we were a very close family, but I've never had a problem cutting toxic people out of my life. I texted Lauren's parents and told them I was calling off the engagement and told them she's been cheating on me. I thanked them for everything they've done for me. Our relationship was still building, but they were kind and supportive of me, so this just added more hurt to the mix. I finished by asking if they would come pick up all of their belongings. I haven't gotten a response from them yet, but I'm hoping they come to grab her things so Lauren doesn't have a reason to come back. And there is an update and some comments. But yeah, what do we think about this plan? Just telling everyone and divorcing or annulling or I guess ending the engagement. Yeah, pre-divorce, doing a little pre-divorce action, cutting off the dad for sure. Yeah. I don't know about cutting off the mom.
Yeah, again, I think we run into this scenario many times where it's like it might end up doing more harm to you just being involved in kind of dragging on the conflict than it does just kind of telling the necessary people. Obviously, you had to tell your mom. I think the parents make sense. I do like the message he sent to his would-be in-laws, like, hey, thanks for being kind people. I know this is on you. Can you come pick up the stuff? Outside of that, I feel like you kind of got to cut your losses and move on. And I feel like OP will get better the fastest that way.
I agree. But man, this is just send everyone a Google Drive link of the vid.
Ming.
I think that might count as revenge corn.
Yeah. Again, I just think there's just potential blowback that in the end would just add more pain, stress to OP's life.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah. But comment one, I figured he lied when your mother wasn't answering. She must have said some stupid crap for you to leave like that. The balls on your dad to bring Lauren to your mother. Well, someone would get a little in my social circle. Not saying me. Wishing you the best. And OP replied, I'd send the video to her parents if she tries to lie about it. And OP also replied, if I hear rumor or lies around town, I for sure will. In another comment, I'm going to say this. Don't be mad at your mother. She's a victim of this too. Unfortunately, your father, the piece of crap that he is, lied to cover his tracks. If she had heard from you before your father got to her, things would have been different. Your mother is going to need you just as you are going to need her. So take some time to cool down, then reach out to her. I think that's a great idea.
Great point. Yeah.
OP replied, that's what I thought she would do, but I was clearly wrong. She said things a mother should never say to their child. But again, she said it under false pretenses. Like yes, she should have heard. She should have heard your side, but I don't know if you can completely blame her.
Yeah. I again, he just was completely lying to her and misleading her. Like, what else would we expect? To be honest,
keep in mind that this is her husband, the father, and the future daughter-in-law, and not strangers that were telling her this. All she knew was her husband came home bruised and beaten with a visibly upset future daughter-in-law, so she believed what she was told. And another reply says, heck with this mother. She's obviously a moron. She stayed married to a piece of crap. She couldn't see what a crap he was. And then to turn on her own son without talking to him, she deserves hell. Again, I don't know if that's really
He could have just hid this the whole time. We've seen this 1,000 times.
Another reply is, if you read the first post, OP said, I have a close-knit family, as did she. So to me, it sounds like up until OP sent his mother the video, she had no reason to distrust her husband of however many years. I'm not saying she's right in the way she handled the situation, but as a parent, I can see why she reacted in the way she did when her husband and soon-to-be daughter-in-law came saying he hit his father because he tried to stop him from fighting/arguing with soon-to-be daughter-in-law. If OP had made one phone call to his mother before he went dark for a few days, his father wouldn't have had the opportunity to lie and control the narrative. And there is another update.
More. Oh,
There
no.
is another update.
Oh, boy.
John, can you read some of those comments while I get a little bit of energy gum?
Absolutely. So Death Rage says, we have no idea what the father said to the mother to hype her up. In anger, we all say things we regret. He should try to forgive his mother eventually if she leaves that man. Yeah, again, absolutely. Like, she didn't know. And also, like, to Death Rage's point, we don't know the exact specific words that were said either. So to me, I'm like, you know, he could have, yeah, that was what the mom like gave us the gist of, but maybe he said more that we didn't know. We don't know how he positioned it. Harriet Spaghetti, statistically, it's way more likely her son is a wife DV person than that her husband that they both loved and trusted 2 minutes ago is creating grand spirit conspiracy. I guess basically saying like, yeah, it's like, you know, that the DV is the thing that happens very frequently. So it's, and also to be fair, I think like if I was OP's mom in that situation, again, these are two people, like one of the relevant comments, two people you know and trust, they come and they're like, yo, this happened. I don't think I would think to be like, oh, well, where's the proof? And even if I did, I don't know if I would ask them that off rip, you know? So I think it's totally fair that the mom was like, oh my gosh, I see that, you know, this happened.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of new information.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Yes.
Death Rage. I personally try to forgive the mother, but I respect OP if they cannot. It's to each their own. I feel like mom would need help leaving the father in this moment, so I'd want to be there for my mom. I think I'm with you, dude. I think I'm with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow, what a
Lean on each other.
difficult situation.
Truly
Difficult. But we have another update. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I haven't updated in a while. I wish I could say I'm doing great, but that would be a lie. Everything hits me in waves. I go from just being numb to boiling with rage. I haven't had a happy moment since I found out. Other than a few friends, I don't really have anyone in real life, especially since my family turned out to be crap. That's true. All right. Quite a few things happened since I posted last. It's been about a month, so this update will tell all that's been going on. After my last post, I decided to get the ball rolling on everything that needed to be done, like getting tested, finding a therapist, moving, and of course, buying a new bed. I started by calling my doctor's office, telling them I needed to get tested and to refer me to a therapist. I had my first appointment with a therapist 2 weeks ago, and we decided to continue once a week.
She's got her work cut out for her.
Oh, yeah, Jesus. I also got tested last week, but it'll be another week or so. So until I get the results, cross your fingers for me. I got in touch with a real estate agent, friend of mine, and he sent me a ton of listings, and I decided on a refurbished cabin on the outskirts of my city. I finished moving in 2 days ago.
Wow.
When I finished moving, I called Elle's parents. When they picked up, I told them I moved out, and Lauren still yet had to pick up her things. That the landlord will start showing the apartment in a few days. So someone better pick up her things before the landlord throws it out. That must have lit a fire under them, because the next day, my former landlord texted me thanking me for getting the apartment emptied out. No one knows where I live now other than the friend who set me up with this place, so I know Lauren or my parents won't be dropping by. The only thing that sucks about this place is I traded a 10-minute walk to work to a 45-minute drive. That's rough.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean, the cabin on the outskirts does sound nice, which hopefully is like restorative.
Yeah,
for
maybe you
OP.
need to be away from the hustle and bustle of the city center.
45 minutes, that's enough time for you to listen to an hour and a half podcast.
True.
Part one, part two.
Half on the way there, half on the way back.
That's right.
You should listen to OK Storytime wherever you get your podcast.
That's right.
My phone has been blowing up with texts and calls from Lauren, both my parents and some of my friends, but I have no interest in talking to anyone other than my therapist. At work, I've been a ghost. I go in, get my work done, and leave. On the rare occasion I have to talk to someone, I put on my fake smile and pretend everything is okay. My boss from my previous post has been trying to check in on me more, but I don't really tell her anything. Either I just tell her I appreciate it, but I'll be okay. Truth is, I don't know if I'll be okay. I get that time heals all and whatever, but I feel like that's only relevant when you're dealing with one issue, not when you lose who you thought were the 3 closest people in your life all at once.
That is so true.
Mom, dad, and fiance.
We got to call mom back, man. We've got to do that. You need to lean on
I
each
don't know.
other.
Yeah, I really don't think the mom cutoff made sense.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
really
no.
doesn't.
I'm not into that.
I think he's so just wrapped up in his own anger that I think OP does give kind of some angry vibes.
I would be
Angry
angry
person
too,
vibes.
man.
Yeah. But like even more than usual, you know what I mean? I feel like that's what's
Maybe.
something is fueling him to not want to contact his mother.
Maybe it's the fact that his dad slept with his fiance.
You might be right on that.
I don't know.
Right.
I think he's not in his right mind, but maybe the therapist will help him see that he should
True.
he should get back with his mom. I mean, like, contact. A huge part of me fell into eternal sleep, and there's no chance of resuscitating it. The meetings with my therapist are going well. I suppose I've never done therapy before, so I have no reference on what good therapy is. We do get along all right, and she really seems genuine in wanting to help. The first session was us getting to know each other and delving into what brings me to her. Nothing in depth, but me just telling her what happened in my own words. The second session, we went a bit deeper. She asked me about the relationship I had with my parents, and I told her up until now it was great. We talked often and always communicated well when something was wrong, and that I grew up in a great home, but that all means nothing now. She asked why I cut my mother out of my life, and I told her. She said things to me I wouldn't say to someone I despise, and then told her there's no way she can come back from that. I think you got to be more specific with your therapist. Like, what did your mom actually say?
Yeah, because I think it was something along the lines of how dare you come here when you've your father. And it's like, well, hey,
Get over it.
yeah, come on, yeah, OP, come on.
No,
Dust
we're
it off your
kidding. I mean,
shoulder.
like, yes, we understand that you are very upset, but I do think the anger is misplaced, and it's just going to make you feel worse.
Misplaced, yes.
At the end of our last session, I gave her the link to my page on here so she can read more about how I feel and what's going on in my head. I feel like it's easier to type things out than to speak it out. So if you're reading this, Hi, Doc. For now, I'm still miserable. I thought I'd be okay by now. Not necessarily happy, but okay. I know some of this is my own fault in not communicating to my friends, but when I think about responding to them, it just seems so exhausting. I know they'll want to get together or come to my new place, but I just don't have the energy to be around them. Until I do, I'll work, go to my appointments, and sit on my back deck, sipping on some bottom shelf whiskey and try to enjoy this beautiful view.
Mountain man.
I haven't hunted since high school, so maybe I'll take that up again now that I can hunt from my back porch. That's kind of cool.
Is this a non-sober Riley?
Thank you all for reading this far. There are some comments, and I believe another update. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think OP's gonna rekindle things with his mom?
I think he's getting there. I think he's probably going to go through this journey and this process with a therapist. First time talking to a therapist, and maybe realize, yeah, maybe not only was it like, okay, that was too much and maybe unfair to my mom, but also just, hey, man, I need all the support I can get. I need someone who understands what I'm going through.
I don't know if there's that many people that have that experience.
Listen, hey,
Support groups.
if anyone
8
out
billion
there
people in the world.
is watching, let us know, because this actually might have been the first time we've even heard a story like this on our show, which is crazy. We've seen a lot of scenarios.
We've definitely had
Something like this.
Parents sleeping with fiance.
Yeah.
Or at least girlfriends.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
I do remember one of those.
I do have a crazy conspiracy theory, though.
What?
There's one more update. Lauren?
Oh.
He gets a new brother.
Oh.
Oh, and then your brother?
Oh.
He's like, Dad,
You're
why does
so
my brother
right.
never talk to me?
Dude.
Well, Sonny, funny story is.
Oh. Yeah, Honeybee says he's going to be hunting his dad.
I mean, the way bro is moving, that sounds accurate.
But we got some more to the story. So, comments. Comment 1. I really want to know what OP's ex has to say. Better be worth the audacity she has. Also, I hope things get better for you, OP. And a reply, I agree. I'd love to hear their explanation before cutting them off forever. When did it start? How many times? Why? Etc. And OP says, wouldn't do any good. You couldn't trust they were telling you the truth anyways. True. Mom, though, Mom has a crap ton to answer for before she gets cut out. Like, why did she assume they were telling the whole story? What is she going to do now? She's got a rug sweep and pretend she didn't see it with her own eyes, her husband of decades banging her son's fiance?
Oof.
Or is she going to get a spine and toss them like the wolves, to the wolves like they deserve? It doesn't matter. Either way, as she's done something irrevocable to her own son and should cut her off permanently. Let her wallow in the self-pity as the years crawl by with no family to cling to because she's pathologically incapable of compartmentalizing her emotions. Again, I don't know, Reddit.
Just
like
grilling mom, man.
I don't really think mom deserves to be grilled.
Golly.
And there's another reply. Somehow I get the feeling that she'll suck it up and stay with that piece of crap to keep the peace and move on as a family, even though she verbally abused OP right in front of her house, without a thought of such peace that needed to be kept. And another comment said, I hope that your test results come back clear. I know you're going through a tough time, but eventually you are going to be where you need to be, and I wouldn't want you to try and reconnect with your friends and have them not respond. They will feel like you turned your back on them because they don't have the full story. Who knows what your ex is telling them? Let them know with the text or email what happened and that you need time alone right now to figure yourself out. If they are truly your friends, they will understand and wait for you to heal. I wish you the best. I think that's a good point.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, reach out to the friends, inform them to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess that maybe they'll be more open to coming back when you go back.
Yeah, and maybe there are like a few friends that you're really close with that could have like a big role of support. Maybe then you tell, but don't tell. I feel like his intention was like, oh, let me put him on blast. That's where I think it kind of goes negative. But if it's a specific person trying to get support, well,
Yeah.
could be okay.
And Macy Baker says, I just joined, but isn't mom the victim in this too? Yeah, but I think what happened initially is she yelled at OP like pretty aggressively and said some unspeakable things, according to OP. And so for that reason, OP's like, I don't want to be around her. Anyway, OP replies, I know they all know what happened, and we hung out the night I told them. But when I got home, I thought it was exhausting, so I just don't answer my phone unless it's work, the bank, or my therapist. I know I should write them a message telling them I need space, but I still appreciate them, and that I'll probably do that after I get off here. And there is another update. 8 months later.
Just remember what I said.
8 months.
Just remember that. Just remember that.
I really hope not.
Just remember.
Hey, everyone. Sorry I've been MIA for a while. Now I'm writing this update to let all of you know I'm alive and give you the lowdown on what's been happening as of recent. First, I want to apologize to those who've worried about me the past few months. After my last post, I was nowhere near okay. So I pulled back from everything. I secluded myself in order to heal and cope with what is now my life. I want to know every comment and message didn't fall on deaf ears. I took all of your positive feedback and advice and worked through my problems. So, to the people who've supported me through this, truly thank you. I can't stress it enough. When I was at the lowest I've ever been, it was the internet strangers that were there for me. So thank you all.
You're welcome.
In my last post, I was doing things like getting tested for those sneaky those spicy diseases, those dong diseases,
Dong diddlers.
those dong diddlers,
Sounds like something else.
and trying to restart my life. I'm happy to inform you that I am clean and could not be more relieved.
Thank God. That's a win.
I'm fully moved into my new place. When I told you all about my new place, I told you it was a refurbished cabin. Well, I might have been a little generous. It was refurbished almost 25 to 30 years ago, so it was a bit outdated. Well, with all of my newfound free time, I decided to actually refurbish it, and all that's left to do is paint the guest room that I turned into an office. The only thing I didn't do myself was the electric and plumbing, because I have no clue how to do it and have zero interest in being shocked or putting my hand down a crap-covered pipe.
Oh.
Doing all the work has been incredibly stress-releasing and has helped me clear my head. I still see my therapist once a week. Good. And to all those who suggested it, you probably saved my life. So thank you. Being able to vent, get my frustrations out, and get the advice I need has been better than anything in my life, past or present. I'm still working at the same company. I've become more open with some of my coworkers that I'm closer with and my boss from my previous post due to advice from my therapist. Also, due to her and some of your advice, I've reached out to my friends and have slowly been reintegrating into the group again. Now, on to the update. With what's been going on between my family and my ex, I decided I was ready to have a talk with my mother.
Here we go. We're coming first.
That's a
full
win.
circle.
That's a win.
Full circle.
So a little over a month ago, I unblocked her on my phone and reached out. I called, and almost instantly, she picked up the phone. I could tell through the tone of her voice she was panicking. Eventually, after reassuring her it was me, I told her we should meet and talk. She agreed, and a day later, we met at a diner near her house. She was there before I was, and when she saw me, she started quietly sobbing. When I sat, she apologized over and over again, telling me she could only take their word because she never thought them getting together would ever happen. I told her, while I appreciate her apology, the things she said to me were so despicable and something no mother should ever say to their child. And it showed me exactly what she thought of me. She cried harder and promised me it's not true. That when she was told I hit my father for no reason, she was so angry. And when I showed up to the house, she just let her anger take over. Not wanting to go back and forth with her, I decided to move on. I said, speaking of that piece of crap, what have you decided to do with him? Chat, what's your guess? What's your guess? Did she stay with him or did she leave? Did she stay or did she go?
Please tell me. Please.
What's your guess? She told me they've been separated. She punted him out since the day after I sent her the video, and she immediately found a lawyer. Then we moved on to my ex. She said when I pulled away, she went back into the house and threw them both out. She was too disgusted to look at them. By the way, look at me. Look at me.
Don't be disgusted.
I want you to be very into this. I don't want you to be disgusted. I want you to be fully whole hog into the fact that we have a podcast called OK Storytime, and you could listen to episodes every day of your gosh darn life, every hour, every minute, actually, for the next year, nonstop. So go listen to OK Storytime and search it wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere. Put it in your ears. But there's a little bit more to the story.
Oh, this story always scares me. I don't know what's coming next.
We talked for about an hour in total. And before I left, I told her I was in a dark point of my life. And because of the things she said to me, I didn't have my mother when I needed her. And because of that, I don't know if I could have her in my life. I then told her I'm willing to work on my relationship with her, but it will be at my pace. She stopped me before I could leave and told me that she has to tell me something important.
Hey,
Goat.
we do this. We do this for a living.
She has to tell me something important. I sat back down and she told me, Lauren is pregnant.
Dang.
But with whose baby? With
That is a
whose
good
baby?
question. You are asking.
Whose baby?
You are asking the right question, sir.
This
You're
is
asking
8
the right
months later, though.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
So
hey.
8 months later, Lauren apparently showed up to the house and told my mom. She said she doesn't know if it's mine or my father's. Lauren asked if I had been in touch so she could let me know. Obviously, she hasn't, so my mom just sent her on her way. Well, that's about it for the update. I have a lot on my mind and not sure what to do or feel. Oh, thank you for reading. Sorry for rambling on. And OP has some stuff in the comment section.
I need to know.
I need to know.
I need to know.
I need to know. To add, of course, I'll be getting a DNA test. There were also some comments asking me if the claim is actually real. Lauren came to my mother's house around 7 months pregnant. My mother is no rocket scientist, but I'm almost positive she can tell when someone is 7 months pregnant. Also, there's not much of an update for my dad because I don't know much, neither did my mom, so she had nothing to share. And there is a reply. 110% this and arrange it with a lawyer and do not contact her yourself. If the baby is yours, you can decide from there how to proceed. A betrayal like this is hard to recover from. Give yourself grace. Day by day, you're getting better. I don't know what your mom said, but she is very much in your shoes as well. Maybe in time you can forgive. And another comment, over the past months, I kept remembering your story and hoping that you were well. Thank you for updating us. I think it's good that you allowed your mom to tell her side of the story. Now you may have some clarity on her choices and why she acted that way. Keeping the boundaries was good. As for your ex's pregnancy, well, I don't think that's your problem to deal with. She made her choices and now she has to face the consequences. I really hope that things may keep on improving for you. And reply, we have a reply.
Oof.
Oh, not from OP though.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's going to be his problem if it is his and not his father's kid. Just because she's a cheat and a liar doesn't mean he can cleanly wipe his hands of the situation. I sincerely hope it's his father's kid so he can stay away from her and not have to be forced to have a relationship with her, even if it's just co-parenting. Would be delicious irony to see his father have to pay alimony to OP's mother as well as paying child support to the ex-fiancé for the results of the affair. And that is where the episode ends, or the story ends. And that's where the story ends. Riley, do we have an update?
No, they just completely are gone. They ghost.
Dang it.
Wow.
I know.
I really hope it's not his kid.
My
'Cause that
cojones
would
is
suck.
freaking blue.
Yeah.
Because that, oh my gosh. Wow. We do have some positives. We have the reconnection with the mother. We have the therapy. We have, it sounds like, rehabbing this little old freaking cabin.
Question for you, John. In this
Yes.
situation,
Mm-hmm.
let's say it was his biological kid
Yep.
and the fiance and the dad were willing to take on all responsibility for that kid. Would you relinquish responsibility
If it was my
if it was your
biological kid.
biological kid? And what would you guys do in chat?
I feel like it's weird because I feel like I would just like instinctually want to fight for custody, whatever custody I could get, which maybe is a lot or all considering the circumstance. Yeah, if it's their baby, I kind of don't want. I don't know how much contact I would want, but I think I would fight for custody.
So you would fight for custody if it was your biological kid.
I think so.
What if it was split 50-50?
I mean, if that's what ends up like being the court case, like so be it. But I would probably.
But you would try to get primary custody.
I would try to get primary custody again, like we've seen in many stories where it's like the person gets primary custody, then they can decide what the split is, legally speaking, right? I think that's what I would try to go for.
Yeah. So can we put a poll? Fight for primary custody or sign away rights?
What we doing?
So primary or sign off. Let us know what you would do. We have some donos to read, though.
Oh.
And some okay fortunes.
Hey, yo.
And should we read those right now, Riles?
Yeah, go for it. Either way, he's going to have 50% of his DNA, of the brother's DNA. Of the kid's.
He's going to be related no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what.
When you're related to the fair baby.
Josephine Madola Berquist, thanks for the 65 Swedish kroner. Can I get some time off work? My dad boinked my fiance in our bed. I got proof. Want to see? Creaking, pounding, and moaning sound plays on Opie's phone.
Unfortunately accurate.
Yeah, that's literally what happened.
Right.
Josephine, thank you for that amazing TLDR.
And then Josephine Dahlbergers again. Thanks for the 65 Swedish kroners. Somehow, whenever I fall asleep to your streams, I fall asleep fast, stay asleep, and wake up feeling great. This is from someone who can't sleep on benzos. Guys, you heard it here first. Best way to sleep.
We help you sleep. Delina Doomcat, thanks for the $5. So this is awkward, but I tried to mention it in chat a few times, but it got missed. Background play for YouTube is off, so I can't turn my screen off and listen at work. Sorry, I have to donate to let you know. You guys are great, though. Taylor Whitner says, mine works. Caitlin Van Camp, it says you have to pay for YouTube Premium now. I've seen it seems to work on the members ones. Yeah, that's just a thing for members only. Background play is working. Okay.
Yeah, maybe it does work for if you have a membership. I don't know.
Taylor Whitmer, thanks for the $5. Love to listen to y'all when I'm getting ready or just simply for background noise, and absolutely love Sam. Oh, thanks. Oddly, as soon as I hear his voice, it makes me excited. I know it's cringe, but it's true. Taylor Whitmer, that brings warmth to my heart and blood to my loins. We appreciate you.
Whoa.
My boyfriend had a meltdown after finding out my friend's age. I don't recognize him anymore.
Who is that? Is that my boyfriend? No, it's some sort of shadow monster.
I've been dating my boyfriend Mike for about 4 months and everything has been great until now. This post is going to make Mike sound kind of crazy, but up until now, he has been the nicest, most laid-back guy I've ever dated. By the way, this comes from Throwaway BF Gone Mad 2021 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, about a week ago, I was on a Zoom call with 2 of my friends, who we will call Annie and Sarah. Sarah is 27, Annie is 36. I was talking to Annie and Sarah, and Mike leaned over my shoulder to say hello. Because of the pandemic, he hasn't met either of them in person yet, and this was his first time actually meeting Annie at all, which is a 36-year-old. I wanted him to get to know my friends a bit, so I invited him to sit next to me and stick around. Sarah was talking about her dating woes and how the pandemic has made it harder to date than ever. And Mike made a weird joke about how Sarah needs to find a guy quick because at 30, she's going to hit the wall and no man will want to marry her. He said it in this joking voice, but both Annie and Sarah looked weirded out.
That is a super weird thing to say to somebody you just met on FaceTime.
Yeah, I was too, to be honest. Mike's never said anything like that before. I guess Mike picked up on the awkwardness because he started trying to explain himself and started saying all the stuff about how women age like milk, and it's not the same for guys, and men intend to date younger because after 30, they hold all the cards and can pick and choose. And he said, I haven't had any trouble meeting men. And Mike said, just wait until you hit 30 and lose your looks. It's all downhill from there. And he just kind of laughed. And I had to tell Mike that she's 36 and obviously hasn't lost her looks if he's mistaking her for a 20-something-year-old. I said it kind of jokingly, but Mike just went silent and then walked off into my bedroom and slammed the door that night. And ever since then, he's been very moody and short with me. And he keeps making passive-aggressive comments about how I'm always against him and never have his back. We've never even had an argument before this, so I don't know where he's coming from. I've tried to bring up the Annie thing several times, and he either clams up and refuses to talk about it or turns his back to me. Annie and Sarah ganging up on him and bullying him, which I don't think any of us did. The rest of the time, he's very short with me and keeps picking fights over tiny stupid things like my tone of voice and being wrong. What do I do here? I really want to talk to him about what happened and his views on women and men and aging because that's kind of concerning. I don't understand why my sweet, cool boyfriend has suddenly transformed into this weirdo because he got politely corrected once. How should I solve this? Relevant comments. 2020 has hit. A lot of people has gone down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole since then because they're not talking to anyone. And also, fun fact, Andrew got popular around the same time.
Ooh, that is right. that was right about the time of his, rise to infamy. Like, first of all, women don't age like milk. Men
No,
don't
dude.
age like milk. Everybody ages
How they take care of themselves.
it all depends. The longest somebody can pretend to be someone they're not is like 3 months.
Yep.
So you're at the 4-month mark. Looks like he might be showing you his true colors. Instead of being the cool, calm, awesome guy, he's actually like secretly seething underneath the surface. And you just have never disagreed with him once. Now he's like, I can't believe a woman disagreed with me. A woman corrected me. Doesn't she know? Doesn't she know? He's disgusting.
Relevant comments. KD fell shot 123. WTF? Sounds like your boyfriend is a shallow POS. I mean, was he seriously looking for you to back him up that older women fall apart? If that's what he really thinks, then your relationship is over in 2 years anyways. Smack him upside the head, tell him to grow up, and you can move from this. This is the dumbest non-issue I've ever heard in my life. Your boyfriend is being a little dog, and he sounds like the type of person that is loaded up with double standards. OP says, that went through my mind too, and it is part of why I want to talk to him about this, because if he really thinks women are washed up after 30, then what does that mean for our relationship? Because she's going to be 30 in 2 years.
Yeah, dude. But also, I don't agree with that commenter being like, this is just something you should just like talk about and move on. It's not even an issue. It's like, this is a huge issue. If he fundamentally views women as like an object that deteriorates in value over time, that is not anyone you want to have a long-term relationship with at all.
And Deleted said, once I heard the phrase, when people show you who they really are, believe them. It changed my life. Listen to who he is showing you he is, OP. To give credit, it's a Maya Angelou quote, thanks to everyone that told me. OP, I think I'm going to take your advice. It makes me sad. He really seems so great up until now, but I guess this is a lesson to me that you can't always trust the first impression you get of someone. I texted him that I want to talk, so I guess either he can respond and we can have an actual adult breakup in person, or he can keep ignoring me and get dumped by text tomorrow.
Dump him by text. Honestly, you know what you should do? Dump him by mail.
No, voicemail.
Voice memo. Just send him a voice memo that's like, you know what? I just think you're aging like milk, and I can't see myself with someone as ugly as you are on the inside and the outside. So I think we're done here, Buster.
Oh.
Yeah, just to really send it home. How? Because literally, he was like basically telling her friend, like, yeah, you're gonna be super ugly. Yeah, you're gonna be super ugly. No one's gonna like you, so you better hurry up. Stupid, smelly, ugly lady.
Yeah, you better grow a personality too, because no one's going to look at you with those looks. Update, I want to say thank you, blah, 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 blah. But seeing everyone basically unanimously telling me Mike was bad news was a wake-up call I needed. As a matter of fact, it was actually Sarah who told me to make the post. She didn't like Mike at all after that Zoom call, and I have kind of been pushing back when she suggested I end the relationship. She didn't sound surprised when I told her Reddit unanimously said he was bad news. I think she was probably thinking, I told you so. But she's a good friend and probably won't tell you that, hopefully.
That's what good friends do. They don't tell you I told you so. They just kind of give you a look like.
Yeah. I also called my dad after the Reddit post, and something he said basically cemented my decision to end it with Mike. He and my mom are the same age and have been happily married for 30 years. He said, if you stay with this man, then on your 30th birthday, you're going to be worrying he'll never find you beautiful again instead of celebrating the milestone. Don't waste your time with someone like that. Every time your mom has her birthday, I feel happy that she's choosing to spend another year growing older with me. Aww. And basically, that's what I want. And obviously, I wasn't going to have that with Mike. Anyway, long story short, I did break up with Mike. I texted him asking him to meet up and talk. And when he asked what about, I told him we need to discuss the Zoom call and how he'd been acting this week. By the way, you can act like crazy fools on a live stream when you join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and TikTok. All you gotta do is tap our profile, you're in, and maybe we're live right now, but we have a little bit left of this drama-filled. Dakota, how we feeling?
Definitely, your dad is phenomenal.
Yeah,
That was great advice from the dad. You know what that reminds me of?
George Clooney.
Reminds me of this guy.
Aw, dude, stop.
Yeah, he's a cutie patootie.
I am gonna use that one
Yeah.
day. If
Yeah.
this ever happens to one of my daughters,
You
I'm
put
gonna
that
say that.
right in the memory banks for
Yep.
sure. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I mean, I think OP's done everything right. Like, you know, sometimes it's hard to like see that somebody's showing you who they really are, but it's like in a moment like that, I don't know. First of all, being able to talk to your friend, like saying that to somebody you just met, like you can say that to somebody you're friends with. He wasn't friends with any of those people. He didn't even know they existed. You know, so it's like, how are you going to say that the moment you meet somebody who's, by the way, she's 36, idiot. She's 6 years into not being hot. Dummy. What are you talking about? So there goes your whole argument fell apart right there.
And he got caught in like a mouse in a mousetrap. And he's been sad ever since because he has a boo-boo now. And he doesn't know how to handle it.
You are better off without him, clearly. And really, that's, I think, all that needs to be said. W dad, OP's friend for not like going off on her for not, because sometimes friends will get really mad at you if they don't like who you're dating and like you stick with them, like, you know, which is can be understandable, but sounds like your friend did the perfect thing, which was tell her to post it on Reddit.
Here is the last little bit. I got more of the same stuff about how I'm a bully and ganging up on him, and he wants an apology from me. And even though I had wanted to do the breakup in person, I realized he was going to keep trying to turn it around into being my fault. So I just told him over text that I didn't want to see him anymore. And he texted back, whatever, grow up. And hasn't contacted me since.
Congratulations. He's done contacting you. That's the easiest way to get rid of an idiot I've ever seen.
So that's that. Not a very interesting update, I know. But even though a big explosive argument might have been a more interesting update, I'm kind of glad I avoided it. And Relevant Thoughts through RA 4545 says, good thing done. Now for her to reconcile with her friend and tell her dad what great support they are both. OP says, Sarah's not mad at me, fortunately. We actually had a call just before I made this update, but I can tell she was holding back the urge to say she told me so. And to be fair, she did tell me so. 528 says, I'm sorry it happened, but I'm relieved this is the outcome. I hope you find someone a million times better. Also, I love your dad. He sounds like a great husband and great father. OP says, my dad is amazing. He and my mom are so crazy about each other. They've always been marriage goals for me. And that is that. Oh.
And that is the, yes, goals.
Beautiful.
Goals all around.
I love that. That was beautiful.
We've had an incredible whirlwind romance together, but is that enough to sustain our relationship?
All it takes is love, right?
Love can
Conquer it all. break it all.
Yeah, break everything. Posted on the 19th of December, 2013. Wow.
Whoa.
His perspective. Sit back and grab a warm coffee. This is going to take a bit. I'm a recent college grad with a degree in environmental science and GIS. I got a job quick after graduating and loved what I did. However, that love quickly turned to hatred when I realized 90% of what I was doing involved computer screens and non-human interaction. A huge part of my identity comes from human-to-human interaction, so I quit and decided to become a bartender instead. I bartended for half a year, saved all the money by living as cheaply as possible, and spent all my savings on a plane ticket to Berlin with a 2-month Eurail pass. What a life. Dang,
Sounds awesome.
That sounds great. The trip started off as you would expect, roaming streets, checking out sites, etc. I love Berlin and moved on to Amsterdam. Berlin and Amsterdam are great. Met one of my best friends here and learned a ton from him and keeping an open heart and mind. He told me love transcends spicy sleep. It's a feeling, primal and untamable. I thought he was insane. I'm one of those people that found love to be a commercialized, non-existent emotion sold to us by media and movies.
Wow.
This guy is like
OP, I hope you're okay.
characteristic Hallmark busy business guy who's like, love doesn't
He
exist.
was a businessman coming back from the big city.
He's like, this is all just to sell us consumerism on Valentine's Day. No one's in love anymore. He enlightened me and told me the only way to find love is to not run from it. To love yourself above all else.
I mean, I think that's true.
This guy you met in Amsterdam is really killing it.
Probably went on a meditation retreat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After Amsterdam, I kept moving from Paris, Budapest, Rome, Naples, in parentheses, Florence, Rimini, Verona, beautiful, Barcelona, Valencia, and finally Granada. By the time I had arrived in Granada, things were going well. I had a plethora of experiences under my belt and had believed I could finally relax and enjoy the beautiful small city of Spain. I had no idea One day this city would become the setting for all my dreams and thoughts for the following months, maybe years. When I first got there, I instantly made a large group of friends from across the world in my hostel. Oasis Hostel, if you ever in the area, highly recommend. These people each had a unique perspective on life. Then she came in. I'm sitting at a bar with my Aussie friend talking about something who knows. I look up and she's standing halfway across the room.
Oh.
Face barely lit by the lanterns floating nearby on the hostel porch.
Oh.
I sip my sangria and wonder who that was. It was by no means love at first sight. I was just curious. She sat down by me and we talked a bit. She introduces herself as Tamara in a voice I liked instantly. Nothing crazy, nothing happening, just a new person to meet. I was as excited as I was about meeting anyone. We move on and go on a tapas tour organized by the hostel. Everyone groups together and runs across the city from bar to bar, drinking sangria and eating the free food that comes with it, a huge perk of Spanish culture. I realized halfway through the tour that my body had reached its max capacity of sangria and had to let some go. I run to the bathroom and wait in line. There she was, waiting in line with me. We make some small talk again, but this time something happens. After about 5 minutes of talking, I realized that I didn't want to stop talking. I had to keep talking to her. She had such a unique and honest opinions that I hadn't experienced elsewhere in my travels or at home in the States. After we use the bathroom, we're attached. We can't stop talking to one another. We finish the tour with a great flamenco show in a cave. In a cave?
That's so
This
romantic.
is great. But we both just want to keep talking to one another. So we leave halfway and sit on a brick wall overlooking the Alhambra and a river.
Oh.
We talk more, and at this point, I can feel something happening. I'm immensely attracted to her, but not just physically. Something else was happening. Something magnetic. I couldn't stop talking to her. After flamenco, we head back to the hostel. When we get close, I say something along the lines of, I'm really not ready for bed yet. Ooh. She agrees and asks, what should we do?
Oh my God.
I say, let's get lost and
In
start
each
running
other's
as fast as I possibly can. You start running away from her? She runs after me and we try with all our might to get lost in the stone streets.
That's
After
so
15
cute.
minutes, we succeed in our goal. We find ourselves on a bench overlooking a castle bathing in full moon. The Sierra Nevada mountains lurking in the far distance, enough to give you the feeling that this was all an elaborate stage designed for a movie too good to be real. This is too sweet. We sit there and I interrupt our non-stop talking to ask her if she'd like to listen to music. I put on my favorite song, Becalmed? I don't know. By Brian Eno. She never heard it. It put us both in a mindset of calm and trust. I've known her for 2 hours, but at this point, I trust her completely. Something was happening. I didn't know what. The song finishes and she takes out her headphones and looks at me.
Oh,
I ask what she's thinking, and instantly she says, this memory would be a lot better if you kissed me right now. This is so cute. Her honesty takes me by surprise. I smile, shocked, and lean in gently. It felt like talking rather than kissing. It felt natural and real. Usually when I'd kiss a girl, I would go all out and try so hard to make it memorable or skilled. I never even thought about that with her. It was a communication. After that, I was hooked. We spent the night together, and the next day, she left to hike the Sierra Nevada mountains. I waited for her to come back, and when she did, 2 days later, it felt like it had been years. One day with her, and I was already missing her. This is so sweet. I told her, and she said she felt the same. We decided we had to go to the Alhambra together. It's the largest castle in Spain in the heart of Granada. The next day, we roamed the castle together, running across its many gardens and touching the walls with interest and passion. There was a point when we were overlooking one of the most beautiful gardens in the castle. I asked her what she thought of it and her response was, it's all so beautiful, but it's strange because sometimes I catch myself focusing on things like your arm touching mine or the way you look.
Oh, take me back to Europe.
Her honesty again took me aback. I didn't have. What Europe were you going to?
I want that Europe.
I'm
We
still.
need to go to the hostels.
I was. Oh man. I'm still not sure if this is a Danish thing or just how she is as a person. Something happened in that castle where we both just couldn't stop being close. The entire time we just fell harder and harder. Something about being surrounded by classic timeless beauty mixed with the Spanish sun. At this point, I believe I experienced love for the first time in my life.
Oh, how old is Hope again?
I don't know.
Oh.
It was unintentional and completely involuntary. It just happened. It was a need, not a want or an attraction, just a need for that person, and it still hasn't gone away. I had my last day in Granada and had to leave for Barcelona as I already had a train ticket. I asked her to meet me in Barcelona and she agreed. Oh no, I'm worried. I'm worried.
Oh, what do you mean? They're
I'm
going to meet in
worried.
Barcelona.
I feel like they're not going to meet in Barcelona.
Stop saying that.
I don't know. She was only able to get there for one day before I had to leave and go to Berlin. So we had one day left together. We met up. Okay, they met up in Barcelona.
Good, good.
And roamed the street. Our love grew immensely with every passing second. We spent hours laying on the beach, embracing as tight as we could, and talking about our entire lives, trying so hard to learn as much as possible about one another before we left. There was a constant hovering time bomb above our heads. We knew this wouldn't last longer than a day, so we tried as hard as we could to hold on as tight as possible to these 24 hours we had.
Oh.
Why can't it last more than a day?
Because she's in wherever she's in, and he's wherever he
But
is.
he
a
doesn't-
world apart.
No, he's so flexible right now. He doesn't have. He's not tied down by anything. Cancel your trip, man.
Mm.
You don't need this. You got love. Hold on to it. It was like being on death row. Time felt infinite and at the same time completely fluid and fleeting like sand through our fingers. We spent the night talking and eating gelato and baked goods. Each minute of talking, I knew she was perfect for me. Everyone has someone for them in the world, and she was mine. At the end of the day, we spent the night together and lay in silent sadness, squeezing one another as tightly as possible, hoping if we hold tight enough, it would keep us from separating. When we walked to the station the next morning, it was like a funeral march. We go to the station, and in a moment of desperation, we embrace and whisper in each other's ears, "I'm falling in love with you."
Oh.
What? What? You've met like a couple times and y'all are in love?
That's so cute.
This is adorable. Don't let her go.
I want this.
Don't let her go. Follow her.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Okay.
We laugh on and smile back tears. I take one last look and get on the train. Logically, I know it's likely the last time I'll ever see her. Illogically, some part of me knew we'd meet again. I go home to the States a few days after our goodbye. I felt hopeless and lost. I met the person I've waited 24 years to meet. So he's 24.
Oh.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe he's older and he just didn't.
Yeah.
The first 5 years, he was like, I wasn't looking for anyone. She was in my arms, and for some reason, I left her thousands of miles away. I didn't have enough money to go back. It was over, and I was stuck. Tomorrow was in a different world as exotic as her name. A dream I had woken up from. I was depressed. Meanwhile, Tamara was at home working as a nurse. She felt the need as well. One night she was working on a patient with cancer that was particularly upsetting. She messaged me instantly after her shift saying, "Life is too short. I bought a ticket to America." At this point, I was in a bar with a friend talking about how much I missed her. When I got that message, I almost fainted. The dream was not only real, but happening again. We spent the next 43 days running around the city. At first, we were confused about what we felt for one another. We thought maybe Granada was a fluke, or we might have been influenced by the setting and mystery of it all. But the more time we spent together, we realized there was a chemistry that could not be explained nor denied.
Oh.
We spent most of our days sitting in my car just talking for hours. We felt more close with one another after a month than we did with our best friends. I was attracted mentally as I was physically, if not more so. After 20 days, we confessed our love. Again, you've already said you were falling in love with each other.
Maybe that was just Europe love. This
it was
is
just
like
Europe. This is real love. It was real and mutual and amazing. She left a few days ago. No, follow her. I miss her like crazy, but we agreed we're going to make this work.
Let's go.
Yes. We still talk for hours every day. Oh man, there is an edit, and there's so much more to this story. Oh man.
And there's a small album?
There's a small album. I don't know how we get that. I don't know if we can get it on here. Maybe we can. Ah.
Yeah, wait,
There
scroll.
they are. Scroll down. Thanks. Aww.
Aw.
Aww. Are there
more?
keys keep
Yeah, keep going.
Oh, they're matching.
Oh.
Aw, just so happy.
Oh.
Oh man.
She's
Boiling
cooking
milk. Ah.
Kind of looks like my ex in that picture.
Man, oh, there's more. Oh, that's Christmas light. Oh man, there's so many pictures
All right, yeah.
together.
So for podcast listeners, we're looking at her
this
with
is
a
visual
bike.
humor.
They're looking at like them
there's
under
in the
lights. Oh,
Oh, that's it.
That's
that
it.
was beautiful.
oh, they look amazing. Okay.
Oh man, let's keep reading. There's an update.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Sometimes love just works out, man. Posted on 20th of December 2013, her perspective. So we just got OP's, the original guy's perspective, and now we're gonna get her side. This morning I found a surprise on r/travel. It was the story of how SK Alex and I met and fell in love in Granada. It inspired me to write down my perspective in some of our story too, a story that sounds too good to be true, even to me.
Oh,
I always knew what I wanted. I wanted to live in Copenhagen and be a doctor.
oh, he's gonna be a doctor. Ah.
No, she was.
Oh, wait.
This is her perspective.
I'm sorry, I missed that for a
This is her
second. It's her perspective.
Yes.
Oh.
These were my goals since age 12, and I spent my college years smiling to myself whenever my friends were confused about what to do with their lives. I already knew. So I worked hard in school, got the grades I needed, and started studying med school at the University of Copenhagen. I moved into my apartment in Copenhagen at age 18 and was also one of the youngest in my class. In my spare time, or just instead of sleeping, I worked in hospitals as a substitute nurse. As you can imagine, my attempt to be perfect was bound to fail. Long story short, everything went wrong, and I dropped out of school and lost every concept of who I was, realizing that I had always defined myself in terms of other people's expectations. That is what led me to buying a plane ticket out of Denmark and go traveling with my backpack.
Huge.
This is how I happened to one day step onto a patio in a hostel in Granada. I had only just arrived, but was excited to meet people. He was in the back of the group, looking confident and handsome. And I didn't notice him for that, but it was not my priority to talk to him more than anyone else. It took a while before we got around to talking, and I was surprised to find that he was a very different person than I would have guessed from his looks. He was passionate, adventurous, and intelligent.
Yeah, he looked like a dumb as a rock.
Stupid. And throughout the night, we made a connection that was different from anything I had ever experienced before. Running down dark streets and kissing above the city with the song Broken Horse by Freelance Whales playing in the background. You had a soundtrack? I was overwhelmed and confused about how much I could miss a person I had just met when I left for a hiking trip in the Sierra Nevada mountains the next day. You can read the rest of the story of that night in his original post, which I'm sure you have, but I wanted to share my memories from our one day in Barcelona. As it was, I canceled Valencia completely to arrive in Barcelona 4 days before I had planned, and he extended his stay there, only so we could have that one day together. When we said goodbye in Granada, we already knew we were going to see each other in Barcelona, but nevertheless, it was painful, and I spent the rest of my stay in Granada cursing the train system. When I finally arrived, it was the last day of the carnival, and the city was alive with people. He came to my hostel, and when he stepped into the lobby, I felt so happy that I was smiling like a fool and just jumped up to feel his arms around me again, smell him, touch him. Not very classy. I should probably have pretended to just randomly be in the lobby like I hadn't been looking out the window every 5 seconds. But the force that drew me towards him was so much stronger than any pride.
Also,
Lady Nightcrawler, I love rom-coms.
we love rom-coms.
I
We
love
just don't like the
rom-coms.
ones that are like
cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I freaking love rom-coms.
Dude, some of my favorite movies are rom-coms.
Freaking About
Midnight
Time.
in Paris.
Well,
Great.
there's a little bit cheating in that one actually.
But not in, I guess on both parts.
On both sides.
That's true.
Yeah.
Dang, they all have cheating.
About Time.
I love that movie.
I know it sucks.
Midnight in Paris.
I know.
I also love About Time. That's great. No
Great
cheating in
movie.
that.
No cheating in that.
Yeah.
Great
Dang,
movie.
Midnight in Paris does have cheating.
Mm-hmm. It's mutual.
Frick.
He took me by the hand and dragged me to the center of the city where the last big parade was going on, and the streets were full of children smiling and dancing happily, and I felt like the luckiest person in the world to be there and experiencing it with his arms wrapped around me. We walked along the beach, and I peeked at his face while pretending to look at merchandise at an antique market. I watched how his fingers carefully touched and felt the leather of some small handmade pouches, and how he narrowed his eyes to look at the writings on an old Beatles badge. The weather was perfect, and Barcelona was never more beautiful than that day. As we walked on, we passed a fair full of carousels and colors, and I just couldn't stop smiling. We got to the beach and realized that we didn't bring any towels or bathing suits, but we didn't care. We lay down in the sand, and I soaked the heat of the sun and the sand, but most of all, the sensation of his skin underneath my fingertips and his lips on mine. We must have been there for hours, and I'm sure we looked ridiculous just lying around in the sand in our underwear and holding each other tightly, constantly talking, only interrupted by kissing. In a desperate attempt to feel closer and to catch up with all the years I wish I had known him. I remember when we finally got up and brushed the sand off our bodies. I looked around and realized that I had honestly not even seen the beach at all. I just didn't seem that important. This is so
Are you crying?
Yeah. This is so sweet. We did so much that night. We had sangria in his favorite bar. We walked the old touristy part of the city, and he showed me his favorite streets. We had gelato, Turkish baklava, and pretzels, and we had dinner in the smallest, coziest restaurant we could find. When we entered, the ceiling was so low he had to duck, and we sat down at a table in the very back of the dimly lit room. I can still see the pots and pans on the wall and the deep orange color of the dimmed lights that cast beautiful shadows on his face. I remembered his surprise when I asked about his family, and we were so absorbed in conversation that we didn't have time to go see the fireworks. At that point, I honestly didn't care at all. Fireworks are loud, and I might waste time I could have spent talking to him looking at silly colored sparks. Anyway, the sparks I felt between us were far more interesting, an attraction so intense and electric that I could barely let go of his hand. It was not that sort of fiery, passionate physical attraction at all. More like a forceful low humming between us, a magnetic field of mental attraction and a never satisfied hunger. I wanted to know all his quirks, all his habits. I wanted to hear all his stories, all the times he had loved or lost. In a brief moment, the narrow streets and the dark night reminded me of Granada, and I turned to him and said, "Let's run." And so we did. Music from the carnival was playing loud in the background as we ran as fast as we could down the street. The surroundings became a blur of color, and with the wind and music in my ears, I felt like I was flying, laughing and navigating around people who jumped aside as we passed. Out of breath, we made it to the plaza where the big final of La Marseille was a light show projected on a large building. It was amazing, but as the show ended, I suddenly realized that our day was almost over. We were running out of time. Alex is always fully determined to conquer time and to never let it win, whereas I tend to give up and surrender to the turning hands of the clock. But we did try.
They're so poetic. I see why they get along.
I know. We stayed out most of the night, walking randomly around in the streets, sitting down on porches and walls everywhere. I sang him a song that I wrote in Granada too. I forgot the most important lyric and was embarrassed at how silly it had been of me to write a song in the first place. When I was done, there were so many emotions I could barely move, and my craving for him had grown so big that I knew I could never not see him again. We went back to the hostel, and he showed me pictures from his life until an employee asked us to be quiet. I don't think I slept at all. I stayed in a state of half dreaming while being more aware than ever of the feeling of his body. The feeling of this strange individual that had, in a matter of days, made me feel things I had never felt before. Time won. Morning came. We were out of time. I don't remember too much of that morning, but I do remember a lot of silence. We walked all the way to the train station and I clenched his hand desperately, angry that time was being so unfair that I would have to let go. It was painful.
Oh.
We looked at each other one last time and he told me in a very serious voice that he was falling for me. Oh my God. I held back tears as I told him sorry. This is really making me cry. It's so sweet. Oh, but you're crying too. 1 second, guys. Oh my God. Oh, this is so sweet. Okay, let's keep going. When it comes to goodbyes, Alex is keen to the Band-Aid method, which is probably good because even though it hurt so much when he abruptly let go, turned his back to me, and walked toward the ticket control, it would probably have been worse any other way. I looked after him until he was all the way through security. I remember the last lyric of my song. Oh God, the night turns bright, silent cries of sunlight in eyes, as concepts like distance and time materialize and tear us apart. When we met in Barcelona, we thought it was our last day. When he left Barcelona, we were not so sure, but part of me was convinced I'd never see him again. I stayed in Barcelona until I had my return flight home to Denmark, and when I came back, everything just felt out of place. I had planned on traveling until mid-December and only came home to attend a big birthday party. But since I hadn't booked a ticket anywhere yet, I took a few shifts and would have probably fallen into the trap of just seeing a couple people, just earning a bit of money before I head back out. But one night, I had a cancer patient younger than my mom and realized how short and precious life is. I had to chase the American guy I had fallen so hard for. The next day, I bought a ticket to America. I spent a month and a half with him and helped him get settled in the city he just moved to. We explored the city together and it was the best time of my life. I loved him more every day. It is now a few weeks since I left, but this time I knew we would see him again. I am his, simple as that. And there's an update 11 years later.
11 years later.
2024.
You cheated on me.
I'm just gonna go right into it. This is so sweet. Update to the 23rd of September, 2024. Recently.
Oh my goodness.
11 years later. This is a long, kind of insane story, so grab a coffee and sit back. Once again, 11 years later, we're grabbing that coffee. I promise it's worth the read. 11 years ago, I, 34 male, met a Danish girl named Anna, 31 female, in a hostel while I was traveling through Spain. We had an amazing connection at first, one of those things that you only think you see in the movies.
At first!
There were sparks flying, and I felt like I would move mountains to be with this person. I know that she felt the same because she flew to America to visit me after we'd only known each other for about 48 hours on that trip. We fell deeply in love during her visit, so much that we rebuilt our lives so that we could travel the world together to bridge the distance. We spent the next 2.5 years together, traveling all over the world to around 30 different countries while we worked. I'm so scared. While we worked remotely from various Airbnbs, hotels, hostels, and even couches of friends. They always joked about how we were the happiest people on earth. How no two people could possibly be more in love than us. Finally, at the 2-year mark, we could feel that it was time to settle down a bit, so we moved to Denmark together. I uprooted my American life to make sure that I could live in Denmark with her and start this new life. She began to study psychology while I kept working remotely for an American company from our apartment. The years passed and I continued to work my career while she was finishing her degree. Around 7 years later, she had graduated with her master's degree and she finally told me that she was interested in having children at some point. My entire life, I had thought that I would never have children, so at first this felt like a big deal breaker. At the same time, one of my good friends divulged that she had feelings for me.
What?
Get away! Get away! Go!
No.
Word cloud! Go! Black hole! I did explore those feelings with her.
No! No!
And honestly, admitted a bit of emotional cheating. I think the fear of addressing the baby question was enough for me to allow myself to feel feelings for other people. I did end up telling her about it, and I cut everything off with his friend at the 9-year mark. No. It was at this point that I decided to go all in on us and started walking down the path of babies and marriage.
Wait, so it was 2 years of emotionally flirting with this person?
No.
Because it said 7-year mark and then 9-year mark?
No, she explored it. No, I don't know. I don't know.
2 years?
2 years? It better not have been. Maybe he told and then cut everything. I don't know.
Oh.
It was at this point that I decided to go all in on us and started walking down the path of babies and marriage. I designed a ring from the ground up and had it made in America, so the process took about a year, but I finally got the ring in October of last year.
That's
Why did you tell me that?
That's cute.
Why did you tell me that?
I feel a little worse because of what I just heard before the ring.
This is a beautiful story.
It was beautiful.
And now it's a little bit less beautiful.
You know, in every rom-com,
there's always a
part where they're cheating.
There's always cheating.
There's always cheating. That's what we expect. You know, if it was cute all the way,
it wouldn't be a rom-com.
It wouldn't be a rom-com.
February of this year, we were deeply in love and feeling like we were going on the same path. My partner told me that before we make the baby decision, she wanted me to get everything out of my system that I've always wanted to do to make sure that we were ready for each other.
Oh,
I wanted to do a solo trip through Southeast Asia.
Thank God. I thought it was like a threesome.
For as long as I could remember, and suggested it. She was very supportive and adamant that I needed to do it, even though I really didn't feel like I had to at this point. But we ended up deciding that I would just do it and get it out of my system. I set up my mental narrative that after this trip, there was nothing left to work on, and I would give her the ring, and we would start doing these major things. So I went on the trip for about 3 months, during which time apparently she had a major depression, and assumed that I was looking for other ways to live shopping for alternative lifestyles in which I would live overseas, which was never the case. I think me always talking about how much I miss travel had given her a narrative that I was interested in living that way permanently.
No.
So when I returned from the trip, I had a mindset that I was finally ready to go all in on us, start a family, and get married. But I could feel that something was extremely off.
No.
Over the coming month, we tried our best to rekindle the flame, but I just couldn't feel the love from her side as much as it used to be. Fast forward 1 month, and I'm visiting my family in America alone before she comes to visit. Suddenly, I get a message from a girl I've never spoken to before. The message is saying that she broke up with her boyfriend because she saw him texting flirtatiously with my partner. Of course, this shattered my world, and I entered a huge depression.
Oh.
I called her and asked her what was going on, and she claimed it wasn't a big deal, that would actually probably be good for our relationship, so I settled down a bit. Over the following months, we talked everything out and concluded that it was just a burst of emotion for this guy who happened to be her work colleague, and that it was likely her manifesting the fear around our relationship, just like I did with that girl a few years ago. So we both tried our best to move on, and we traveled a bit together and had a great time. I ended up coming back to Denmark a few days after her to visit my family one last time. When I got back, she felt totally distant again, like some sort of thing had switched it in her brain. I asked her what was up, and apparently she yet again had the same feelings for her colleague when she saw him. She went into a numb state where she claimed she didn't feel anything for anyone and had no idea what to do. During this state, she was asking for a break for 3 months to figure out what she wanted. I was panicking, assuming that a break meant to break up, so I showed her the box with the ring in it just to let her know that all of these cards are on the table to help her make an informed decision. That seemed to switch something in her brain. She immediately felt like herself again and hugged me and told me that this was all just a fluke. So we moved on together again and tried again to build our relationship. These were her exact words just 1 month ago. I'm waking up this morning feeling happy, feeling like myself again, and feeling like the colleague is no longer blocking my view and I can again feel everything for you. I'm here. I don't want to break. I love you and feel excited about everything with you, learning anew how to love in a more connected and healthy way. And if you want to be more connected and healthy, join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube and Facebook. Just tap our profile. And there is a little bit left.
That was a month ago.
It was a month ago.
Is something bad happen?
No. I think this is where we're ending. I think this is where we're wrapping up.
Okay.
You know what?
Just read it.
And so, of course, I thought we could just start again. And these feelings were just a burst of misguided emotions on her end. No. So for the next 3 weeks, we tried to just be a normal couple again, but of course I had some trauma about this guy, so I wasn't able to fully lean in. I think she took this as a sign, and just 3 days ago, she told me that she's demanding a break to explore these feelings for this guy and figure out exactly what she wants from life. She set up a narrative that she was trying to keep us together at all costs, partly based on the fear of not being able to find someone else if we broke up. This guy is giving her confidence to look inwards and truly question what she wants from life. So she's going to take the next month to look at these feelings and try to choose exactly what she wants from her heart. She's claiming that she thinks her feelings for me the last few months have just been based on fear, and that she doesn't feel the excited attraction feeling towards me right now, feeling it more for him.
No.
She claims she doesn't feel the desire to have my children. However, she does still feel the deep lifetime love for me, which gives me hope. She also listed some grievances about my lifestyle, that I'm a bit more individualistic than her, but I'm certain that will change if we choose to stay together, as I now have no insecurities about us. Pausing a little bit before the end. This
pissed.
Sucks.
I hate this.
I hated this story.
I was
This
so
story
happy.
made me so happy
and
then
so
sad. And I'm upset. You know, early, like I was on the, maybe this is rom-com. Maybe they needed to have that moment where they're like, apart, and then they realize that they love each other and that they want to have a life together. But no, that wasn't it.
Dude, when are long-term relationships good? When are they good? Do they all turn to shit?
No.
Do they all...
There is love. Caitlin Von Comment says, and this is why I'm a cynic. This is so sad. This was supposed to prove that there's love and that people end up together sometimes. And they do. You know what? They do. I still believe that. I think that people can have really beautiful relationships long term and live together all their lives. Just not this one.
Sure.
So now I'm sitting here now in our apartment while she's staying at our sister's place, and I'm going to basically sit and imagine them having spicy sleep every single day for the next 30 days and hope that she, by some miracle, decides to choose me over him. What exactly should I do here? Should I just make the break clean right now and assume that there's no going back? Or should I let her have the space, just like she gave me the space to travel and explore my feelings with other people in the past? She has shown nothing but extreme love for me the last 11 years, so I'm inclined to believe that the spark of emotion for this guy must be more of excitement than true love, and that she's so unfamiliar with feeling infatuation for someone else that it must feel very intense for her, which is why she's taking such drastic steps right now. But now that we align on marriage and children, and that we have been so in love for 11 years, it seems logical that we really are soulmates and that we should work on through all this.
I mean,
I think so.
Love takes work.
It takes work.
And especially after being together for this long.
And you emotionally cheated too, and you guys worked through that. I think you could work through it.
I think you could work
through it. Please work through it.
But I think what happened is, like, he kind of broke the trust in the relationship first.
I don't think they ever really got back to where they were.
And that shook her, and then she took it as an opportunity to, when someone breaks the trust, it kind of corrodes the whole relationship,
unless
even if you're trying.
Yeah, unless you both are actively trying to work back to that level of trust that you had before. Then
but
it's
now
not
you're
gonna
even.
work.
Now you're even. You both done the same thing, and now you can maybe build from this both sturdier place.
Yeah.
You've
Let
lowered
her have that month.
the integrity of the relationship
Yeah.
a little bit, but now opportunity to build.
Yeah, you can build back up. It's been 11 years. Please
for us.
It seems logical that we really are soulmates and that we should work out through all this. That's the only reason I'm still waiting here. But should I? In TLDR, I had the most beautiful fairy tale romance with a Danish girl for 11 years, but now it seems to be ending as she asked for 1 month break to figure out if her feelings for a colleague are something worth pursuing, or if she should stay in this with me. Should I sit here in our apartment and wait for her while she goes off to explore these feelings, or should I break it off now? Wait.
Okay, it's only a month.
It's a month. It's been 11
month.
years.
I would wait.
Wait.
If you think there's even a chance of you being soulmates.
If you love her,
then I would wait a month.
Wait a month.
Yeah. How many years did they wait in the Notebook?
So long.
Like what? Like 7 years?
So long.
I waited. What does he say when they're in the rain?
I don't know.
And
I watched it so many times.
They cheated too.
Yeah, they did. That's
Gosh,
also a cheating
dang
story.
It. They're all cheating.
But
maybe that's part of love.
I hope not.
I
That's
really
awful.
hope not.
I really hope not.
That's what the rom-coms tell us. Cheating is part of
man.
love.
I'm so sad. I've never read a story that made me cry.
Yeah, you were crying.
I was
And
crying.
then you were mad.
And then I was
crying.
angry. That's the end of that story.
I discovered I'm dating my biological father. Should I tell him?
What is this?
Let's find out if you actually should. I don't know.
Ah, man.
I still have no idea how to process this. Buckle up because it's a long one. I've never met my dad. He ran off when my mom found out she was pregnant with me. My brother was only 8 months old at the time, so he also has no memory of him. There are no pictures of him anywhere, and my mom hates talking about him. All I know is that he was emotionally abusive to her and a real asshole. I, 25 male, have a thing for older men.
Oh.
Call it daddy issues or a fetish or whatever you want, but I pretty much only date or sleep with men 40 and up. 40 and up? Damn, dude, that's
Whoa.
old. That's
That is
old.
mature.
That's old.
mature.
My ex-girlfriend actually just married a 40-year-old up man, so no.
It happens.
It does happen. He has gray hair. Guess who doesn't? This guy. My family doesn't know this or that I'm gay for that matter. It wouldn't be an issue. They just never ask. We don't really share personal things like that. About 6 months ago, I met David, fake name, duh, at a club. We hit it off great. He's in great shape for his age, supposedly 43, although that's a lie. He's actually 47, as I found out. Really attractive, charming, etc. He left for a 2-week work trip a few days after we met, but we kept messaging each other and I really liked him, which is rare for me. We went on a date after he came back and have pretty much been dating ever since. He has a lot of money and I'm kind of his sugar baby, but that's not the reason I was attracted to him. Definitely a plus though. I didn't tell anyone we were dating except for my 2 best friends. He also never met any of my friends or family, and I never met his. This changed last night.
Oh, no.
We were at a restaurant when out of the corner of my eye, I spotted my mom. I don't live at home and we usually text if we need something, so I didn't know she'd be there. And to be honest, I still don't know why she was. She hates going out and thinks it's a waste of money. She had not seen us yet, but David noticed me looking at her. I'll forever remember the way his face changed when he saw her. His expression went from his casual, charming smile he always had to this blank, panicked look. I obviously noticed and got a really bad feeling. So I asked him, what's wrong? And he just got up and excused himself. I kept asking him where he was going and grabbed him so he couldn't leave. At this point, I was really confused and suspicious, but I would never have guessed what happened next. I don't think anything could have prepared me for it.
Don't say it, Sam. Don't say it.
At some point while he was getting up, my mother must have spotted us because next thing I know, she's next to our table asking me what was going on. I couldn't really pinpoint her facial expression because it looked like she was horrified. But again, at this point, I didn't know David was my father and she doesn't know that I'm gay. Oh, Oedipus who, bro? We got a new contender right now. Oh, God damn.
My body has been drained of its life force.
David is visibly uncomfortable and looks like he wants to die. He was literally sweating. I assumed this was because he didn't want my mother to know I was dating someone of his age. I was about to try to explain what was going on to my mom, and she said, "Why would you go behind my back like this?" I was so confused because, again, I didn't know he was my dad. So, like, what was she going on about? She probably assumed I had looked for and met up with my father without talking to her about it, despite her telling us how badly he treated her.
And he
me,
had to
however,
have known.
The dad?
I mean,
No way. There's social media. Do you not see pictures of people's kids? To me, however, it seemed like she was acting crazy for no reason. I kind of took it personally and thought she was trying to tell me who to date and what to do. So I casually told her that I was just on a date with my boyfriend and I tried to grab David's hand, but he just jumped up and ran away. He literally bolted like an effing Olympic runner. I cannot get the effing image out of my head of him jumping between waiters to get away. Everyone was staring at us by this point. It was so embarrassing and I was mortified. My mom looked like she was just frozen in place. I was more confused than ever. I had no idea what was happening. I had assumed she had asked me that because she didn't want me to be gay, which made no sense. She is very open and liberal. Or maybe she was like, oh, don't date older men, which made a bit more sense, but was still... Oh, yeah.
yeah.
but was still none of her business. But her expression just made my skin crawl. It's like I could feel the horror she must have been experiencing. She just told me to get up and come with her. I was still confused, but something in her body language told me to just do as I was told. I quickly paid for our drinks and appetizers. Thank God the main course hadn't been served because damn, that was expensive. My mom excused herself to her friends, and once we were in her car outside, we just sat there in silence for what felt like 10 minutes.
I can only imagine. Like, what do you possibly say?
I don't know. Nothing you can say can make this okay. I didn't really dare to say anything. I was still processing that my boyfriend just effing ran away from me and my mother. I had also tried to text him, but he wasn't responding. Shocker, I know. When my mom spoke, it sounded like she had been She sounded so wounded. I think it might haunt me forever. She asked me who that man was, and I explained to her, and I went on about how much I loved him because, again, I was still thinking of David as my boyfriend and assumed my mom's reaction was because of his age or gender. I cannot believe I went on about how much I romantically loved my dad right to my mother's face. It makes me puke. Long story short, she told me he was my father and that she instantly recognized him. That talk was the most traumatic experience of my life.
I can only freaking imagine.
Oh, we both started crying at some point and just wept for a while in the car. I was howling. It was fucking primal. I'm not usually emotional or prone to crying, so it was a real shock to me just how much pain a person can feel. Most of it is just a blur now, especially compared to how clearly I remember every other moment of the evening up to this. We drove home. I slept in my old bedroom. We haven't talked about it since, but my brother is also staying at our place still. He's a med student, never moved out of the house because of housing costs. And he knows something is up. He tried talking to me about it and I just broke down again. How do I ever tell anyone about this? The worst part is I think despite all of this, I still love David.
Oh.
He still loves his dad romantically, dude.
No.
Romantically. This
I'm
is
dead.
so bad, dude. This is so bad.
Right, I'm about to go in the grave, okay?
He's putting gray hairs on his head.
Just take me now.
So bad. Just writing this makes me want to throw up. I cannot believe this is reality. Like, how effed up is all of this? Why did this happen to me? I don't even think I could tell my therapist about this. I tried messaging David, but I just don't know what to say. The last message I sent him literally just said, "Please call me. I love you." Sent right after he ran away. Like, what the what the actual like, how do I come back from this? How do I ever look at my mom in the eye again? I haven't left my room yet and I am in tears while writing this. I can't even remember the last time I cried before yesterday, and now I've been doing it nonstop. If anyone has any advice, as if who else would have advice after accidentally doing this besides stupid me, it would be highly appreciated. Also, feel free to make dark jokes about this. It's my coping mechanism. I also did not proofread this as I do not believe I can make myself read this again. And there is a thick, juicy, big daddy update coming our way. What do you think, John?
I think I'm dead. I think that I have ascended. I have dissolved into molecules that are floating through the air, not knowing its direction or purpose in life.
It's so bad. That's so bad. John, do you want me to go into the update?
Just go. Just go.
Just do it. Posting this for the first time was a nightmare. So this is take 2. Firstly, I really appreciate everyone's comments, although I'm not in a mindset right now where I can take them seriously. Just feels kind of weird when people tell me everything's going to be all right when my entire life is in shambles. I do think I'm doing way better than I should. I think I'm just disassociating though. However, what I do not appreciate is the countless people DMing me, asking me questions about my sex life. So I will address this once and for all so you can stop, you effing animals. You know who you are. Yes, we had sex. No, I was not the bottom. I do not subscribe to such outdated and heteronormative ideals of what gay sex is supposed to be like. I am a switch and only date other switches. Yes, the sex was good. I don't date people who are bad in bed. I guess good sex runs in the family. No, I will not continue to have sex with my father, send you nudes, or give you sex stories of all this. Like, what the is wrong with y'all? Anyways, there you go. Have the tier you clearly desire so you can effing leave me alone. For all you other lovely people, I think I need to talk about my mother first. A lot of people have a lot to say about her, and I think I need to set some things straight. She is not a bad person and did everything she could to raise us to the best of her ability. She's also a Black single mom living in a country where she is a minority and which puts a lot of roadblocks in her way, but she always made sure to give my brother and I the best childhood she could. When I think of her, I only have fond, loving memories. Some people assume because of some of my previous statements that we are not a close family, which is definitely not the case. We just really value independence and freedom. I live about an hour away from my mom, but still visit her monthly. We call at least once a week, but we don't force each other to confess things or information the person doesn't willingly give up. My brother, for example, has always been very open about his dating life with my mom. She's met all of his girlfriends and they often came to family gatherings. I'm just more private. That being said, she has not always been perfect because no parent is. A lot of people were upset at her for not telling us about our dad, and trust me when I say that she is aware that she made a mistake. Not even showing a picture of him, come on. But she also moved to another continent just to keep us away from him and make sure we never run into him. There is no way that she could have known that he would move to the same country as us years later. I'm not going to name specifics because I don't want anyone to recognize this as me, since a lot of this is already quite specific, but she really did her best to make sure we never have to go near him, and none of this is her fault. I don't blame her in the slightest. If anything, I blame myself for being so angry at her whenever she tried to tell me or my brother about him. I was never interested in finding out about my father. In truth, I resented him deeply for leaving my mother alone to fend for herself in a world that wanted her to fail. Since this has come to light, a lot of things I didn't know about my family have also been brought up. I found out that my brother and my mother often talked about my father, just not in front of me since I was so adamant to never learn anything about him. I remember throwing a tantrum because my brother kept asking when my dad's birthday was. My brother knew his full name, had seen pictures of him, and knew most of the full story of what had gone down between my mom and him. It is not my story to share as it is fully hers, and so I will not go into details, but know that he was not just emotionally abusive like I had believed my entire life, but also physically and financially. The story of him leaving when she found out she was pregnant isn't fully accurate either. He apparently threatened to harm her if she didn't get an abortion, and so she packed her things and left him. According to her, he never reached out or tried to find her, and she moved to make sure it would stay that way. She really just tried to protect us, and I'll never be able to truly articulate how grateful I am. Obviously, finding out about all this just makes me feel worse. I always shut them out when they tried to tell me about my father and refused to learn anything about him because I naively presumed that I was better than him and therefore didn't need to bother learning anything about a man I wasn't good enough for. Obviously, that backfired, and here we are. The fact that they came from a different country and they both went to the same place. Well, I guess
The
I
same
imagine
city.
the same
city.
like
Location.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Make it make sense.
Thankfully, my mother does not blame me whatsoever. She is extremely understanding of my side, and we've convinced her to find a therapist, and she also joined a group counseling for victims of domestic violence. My brother, on the other hand, is absolutely livid. There are acceptable responses to this, and no, OP is not necessarily in the wrong, but what do you do when your brother your dad?
You be not happy about it. My God. Yeah. Well, the question is the brother angry at OP or the father?
It's probably
That's my
directed at
question.
OP, but he's probably mad just about the situation, you know?
Yeah, maybe his emotions are just they don't know what direction to go in because he's
they
so
just need to
confused.
go somewhere. I felt we had to tell him eventually, and after consulting with my therapist, we decided to rip it off like a Band-Aid, set him down, and I basically first told him I was gay. He did not care, as expected. Then I told him that I was into older men. He was very confused where this was going, and also I was telling him I don't think he was ready for it or took it well, and then that I met dad and that bomb kind of hit and took all his attention at first because he's always wanted to meet him and really struggle with not having a father, unlike me. I thought when he said and that bomb kind of hit, I met dad and damn, that bomb kind of hit, you know? But no, his excitement quickly faded though when he connected the dots of me being into older men, meeting dad, and my mom and me being weird and the worrying behavior we've had for the past few days. It effed him up pretty bad. I really regret telling him at all. I don't know if that's something that he needs to know, you know?
Well, one point in that favor is, does it hurt him to not know? Probably not. As long as the father doesn't come back in the picture, probably not.
Yeah, it does not hurt him to not know. It just hurts.
Yeah.
He can't come to terms with it and is visibly disgusted by the thought, as he always viewed our father as our father and not my daddy. No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. I said that.
Oh, I'm dying over here.
While I viewed him as some afterthought sperm donor that ran off, he hasn't really talked to me since we told him. And when he does, it's disgusting remarks, insults, or passive aggression. My mother is furious with him and it's not helping. She's always hated when we'd fight, but now especially she feels like he's treating me unfairly since I'm already going through so much. But I think he's fully within his right to be angry or disgusted. He's just being such a about it. It's also really uncharacteristic of him to act like this. But again, it's not every day that your brother does this with your dad.
It doesn't happen every day.
He even went as far to call my aunt, my mom's sister, and tell her what happened. Now it's spreading.
I was afraid you'd be like, he called my aunt and said, let's hit
it off. An eye for an eye. Thankfully, we can trust her to keep it a secret. Her husband and her are basically a second set of parents to us, but I still think it's really effed up of him to do that. He also refuses to see a therapist and keeps saying that I'm the mentally messed up one, not him. Whenever we try to bring it up, it's only been like less than 48 hours since we told him though, so I'm sure he'll come around. Yeah, it's 48 hours. He's still reeling.
Give him some time.
He also still really wants to go meet dad, which everyone keeps telling him is a terrible idea because he is really the worst. Stay tuned because it gets worse. Goddamn.
No!
But he's so stubborn and keeps yelling at me to give him dad's address. He's so obsessed with this idea of a man that doesn't exist and wants to do with him. Even before I found out he was my father, he never wanted to meet my family. Does dad know? Did dad know that this was his kid?
I feel like he did because he ran away as soon as he saw the mom. I feel like he did know.
Granted, even before I found out he was my father, he never wanted to meet my family. Granted, I also didn't want him to meet them, but the one time we talked about it, he laughed at the idea as if it was preposterous. Now, he's the only person I blame in all of this besides myself. He really is a little cowardly piece of trash, and I wish I never effing met him. I think this entire thing and his behavior after being recognized just really broke something in me that I didn't know was there. I never cared about him before, but now I genuinely know that he will never give a single crap about me, and that really hurt. Basically, I kept texting and calling him the evening of what we've referred to as the event because I was desperate and confused and couldn't really believe what was happening. I then texted him 2 more times the day of and called once. No response either. Then 2 nights ago, I decided to call him again, even though everyone in my life was against it. This was also just after we told my brother and we had a huge fight about it. This is all happening so fast too. Like it's like crazy that it's just
really
like one event after another.
Chain reaction nuclear explosions.
I was really vulnerable and I don't know what the hell was fired in my head, but some part of me must have believed that he'd comfort me. He had been extremely emotionally available during our relationship, which very much contrasted with what my mother had told me about him and their relationship. I didn't think he'd pick up the phone, but he did. Bro, why are you calling? Why are you calling him?
Also, I will give one amendment to my theory. I do still think that the dad did know, but one argument though is that if he saw the mom, he probably hasn't seen her in years, and he was like, "Oh,
I probably didn't want to see her anyway."
I think it is still possible, and he's just like, "Oh, I don't want my boyfriend to know the person that I was or am."
Exactly.
You know?
Well, let's see what actually happened. He picked up and it was effing terrible. He immediately started yelling as soon as he picked up. He had never yelled at me before. Started calling me all kinds of slurs like the F slur and a put, which is just absurd. Started threatening me that he'd off me and my B mother if I ever contacted him again. And said if I told anyone about this, that I'd regret ever meeting him. Joke's on you. I already do. It was an effing turn of character. I was genuinely not prepared for it and had no idea what I was supposed to do. Maybe he didn't know either, dude.
Maybe.
I just cried on the other end of the phone while he kept yelling at me till he finally hung up. The entire thing was utterly terrible. And I can't believe I didn't trust my mother and listen to her sooner when she clearly tried to tell me how horrible he was on multiple occasions throughout my childhood. I just feel so stupid. I'll probably never contact him again, but I cannot believe I undid all the efforts my mother put in to keep us safe all those years and let him play the both of us in the exact same way just because I wanted some dick.
God.
There's a bit more. I took some people's advice and sent the post to my therapist with a short email explaining some more private stuff. I sent it around 5 a.m., the day after the event, and then went to sleep for almost 15 hours and woke up to tons of missed texts and calls from her, starting with extreme concern and then slight annoyance because I think she thought it was a sick prank since I didn't respond. We talked on the phone later and she told me that I can call her whenever I want. She's not an in-person therapist, which I prefer. I do feel security in knowing that I can confide in her, and I'm glad I told her. I also joined some online support groups.
Don't tell me there's enough people that have gone through this.
Probably not in this specific circumstance where it was like a entirely consensual relationship, but I imagine there is some people who have gone through some stuff like this. Most of them either shamed me because of the age gap or my sexuality, so that didn't really do much good. You think you could go join a support group, but no.
You get anti-support. What the hell?
Anti-support. I've also told my 2 best friends against what some people advised. I trust them with everything and they wouldn't be my friends if that wasn't the case. I will be using fake names for this, but basically Leah, my oldest friend we met in kindergarten, called me on FaceTime, not unusual. The night of this happening, I had told her I was sick and she'd leave me alone, but she called me to ask how I was doing the next day. I had just kind of another mental breakdown and was sobbing when I picked up the phone, and she was obviously concerned and I just kind of blurted it out. Of course, she thought I was joking at first and asked me if I was on or some shit. I don't even do because I pretty much never cry. I then just kind of told her everything and it was really freeing. She was the first person I told. I then sent our other friend the TikTok of this and just let her react to it. Then told her I wrote that and let Leia handle it. I'm really grateful for them. They have been insanely supportive. I'm still staying at home. They're helping me to feed my cat and look after my plants for as long as I need. No judgment at any point. Those are some freaking great friends.
Really?
Just them asking me how they can help. Get yourself friends like this. So all in all, my dad is trash to one surprise. I might have mentally broken my brother. Therapy works. And my mother and friends are the best people on this planet. I'll keep answering questions for the next few days. And I think after that, I'll log out of this Reddit account for good, documenting and sharing this with people who have really helped me. And I appreciate all the comments, even if I cannot do much with them to help my recovery at the moment. Also, the jokes are top tier. Keep them coming. Everyone's tiptoeing on eggshells around me, so it's nice to see the comments just go feral. I just want to feel normal again.
Well, I got one more then. The comments weren't the only things that were coming.
Oh, your dad. And he wasn't coming back from getting milk.
Oh, no.
That was brutal, dude. That was absolutely brutal. One of the most brutal ones we've ever read.
I think this is the most defeated I've ever been. I think I am at my most defeated.
So what do we think? Do we think the dad knew or didn't know?
I'm curious to see what the comments say. But I originally thought he did because of the way he reacted. But now think about when he sent the text and said, I love you initially. Then later on the phone was like cursing him out and saying the most disgusting, vile stuff. That kind of leads me to believe that he actually didn't know.
Yeah.
But also the chances, like I could see with him
but
being
maybe he just knew that OP knew. The father thought that OP didn't know for the whole time. And then he found out OP did know and then just like cursed him out because he knew the truth.
Yeah.
I'm going to live in a world where he doesn't know because the other world is worse.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here for that.
But question, would you tell your brother if you did that with your dad? Let me know in the comments. I wouldn't. I would
Tell us
not
in the
at all.
comments.
Tell
Because
us
I
in the
wouldn't.
comments, please. But let's get to a better story, please.
Please, anything.
Please, for the love of God. John, hit us with it. My dad is marrying my ex and has no idea that we dated. And now he wants my blessing for their wedding.
God, I'm going to predict that OP is not the a-hole because this is just too much of a mess.
Like, are you kidding me? I can't imagine my dad dating one of my exes.
Yoinks.
This is all such a mess. I really don't know how I'm supposed to feel about it. I wouldn't either, OP. For some backstory, my dad isn't my biological father. He and my egg donor started dating when I was 2 and got married when I was 4, and then got divorced when I was 16. Honestly, I was far closer to my dad than I was to my egg donor, and my egg donor would regularly abuse both of us. After the divorce, he tried to stay in touch with me, but my egg donor purposely isolated him from me because she was so mad that he finally became confident enough in himself to escape from her abuse. She was able to get a protective order in place on both of us to completely limit contact after the divorce, and then financially blackmailed me to continue to isolate me from him while she paid for my college. So basically, the not mom egg donor was like, I'm not paying for your college unless you abide by my rules.
Yeah.
As soon as I graduated from college when I was 21, I completely cut off contact with her and reached out to him again. Even though it had been 5 years since we last spoke, I was very happy to have him in my life again.
Wow.
My ex-girlfriend and I dated while I was in college. I was pretty low-key about the relationship because I was pretty sure if my mom found out I was a lesbian, she would cut me off completely. We started dating when I was 18 and dated for almost 3 years. I also never told my dad about her since we broke up only a few months after we reconnected. He did comfort me through the breakup, but he never met her or really knew anything about her. That brings us to last night. Woo! My dad and I have a standing dinner date for every other Wednesday, but we've both been busy for the last month, so I haven't seen him since Thanksgiving. He told me that he would be bringing his girlfriend to tag along, and I have to admit that I was both sad because it wouldn't be just the two of us like it normally is, but I was also excited to finally meet her. Unfortunately, once I reached the restaurant, I'm absolutely floored to see my dad sitting there with my ex-girlfriend.
God.
I'm absolutely shocked to see them together, and when my dad introduces her to me, he introduces her as his fiancé.
Oh, God.
And tells me that he wanted me to be the first to know. Apparently, they got engaged 2 weeks ago, but haven't told anyone except for her parents, who I've even met before.
This is going to be so awkward to explain.
I must have had a shocked look on my face because he starts going into this whole thing about how he knows that I might be uncomfortable with him dating a girl who's so close in age to me, and how the age gap concerned him too, because he's 38 and she's 26. He said he knows it would be especially uncomfortable because of my egg donor. Well, I would never compare him to her since she was literally a groomer who started dating her tutoring student when he was 17 and then married him when he was 19. The entire time I was talking to him, though, I was staring right at my ex-girlfriend in complete shock. It ended up being way too weird to me, so I just told them I needed to go after like 5 minutes. Also, why is the ex-girlfriend not reacting at all? My dad texted me again today telling me how he was so sorry to ambush me with that information and that he was sorry that it came off the way it had. He told me again that he understood if the age gap made me uncomfortable, but he hoped I didn't think he was some kind of creep for dating a woman so much younger than him. He then told me that he felt like he was truly happy for the first time in the last 20 years, and he hoped that I could come to accept this even if it took me a long time. I, on the other hand, am completely lost. I'm pretty sure he doesn't know that we dated, and I really don't know whether or not I should tell him. I don't have anyone to go to about this since he's literally the person I would vent to normally, so I decided to let it all out here.
I mean, she has to tell. Go to her first. Go to the ex
ex-girlfriend.
first.
You probably have her number.
Not telling the daughter is one thing, but not telling the new fiance about the daughter is a completely different story.
But there is an update, John.
Here we go. Sam, you know we talk about a lot of really hard situations on this podcast.
Oh, baby, the hardest.
And you know, Sam, that's not the only thing that we need hard in this world.
Fellas, if you're trying to play a little game of hide the zucchini and you want that zucchini to be nice, firm, and strong, I think you're going to want to hear about our next sponsor.
We are working with Blue Chew, ladies and gentlemen. Blue Chew tablets. It is the best option to get your wiener stiff.
And you might be like, oh, I don't need it. But hey, you never know until you try. You could already be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but what if you were Superman? What if you were Tom Brady throwing spirals every freaking day in the bedroom?
That's right, guys. Blue Chew wants you to have better sex.
And I do too, personally.
We want your dongs rock hard. Discover all your options at bluechew.com. Just chew it and do it, baby.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code OKOP at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. I'm saying like free, like actually free. That's bluechew.com, promo code OKOP to receive your first month free.
Come on.
Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And I just want to thank Blue Chew one more time for sponsoring this podcast and making the hard things hard and our life easy.
Oh, yes. Back to the episode.
Just to clarify again that my dad is not my biological father. My egg donor was a groomer and abuser, but at least she didn't do that. Still doesn't excuse dating a 17-year-old at the age of 30, but whatever. So, edit. I'm going to text my ex-girlfriend. I know most of you think she already knew. That's what we thought. Or that she targeted him or something. But I just don't believe that. For one, my dad and I don't have the same last name. And like I mentioned in the comment, we look nothing alike since he is Asian and I am white. Okay, fair. I also never told my ex that he was not my biological father or told him his name.
You're not my dad!
Do people do that? I don't think I've ever even said my dad's name when referring to him. That's so weird to me. I just always called him my dad. I mean, if you're dating for 3 years, like I know my girlfriend's
Parents' names.
Parents' names.
100%.
The only thing I told my ex about my past was that my egg donor forced my dad away from me, and I didn't really talk about it besides that because it hurt too much. So maybe she doesn't talk about her dad that much because of the pain. So that makes more sense. I did tell her when my dad and I started reconnecting, but our relationship was already pretty much ending at that point. Like I said, there wasn't really animosity or anything. We just sort of fell out of love with each other. She initiated the breakup, but after talking through it, it was completely mutual. Anyway, since I don't know whether or not she knew, and I have no reason to believe that she was going out of her way to date my dad, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and tell her that she needs to tell him, and that if she doesn't, I will. Also, some of you asked me why I haven't told him already and why I said nothing at dinner. I want all of you to understand how important my dad is to me. I had to lose him for so long, so I do treat our relationship with some extra care sometimes. I also feel extremely guilty about what happened to him, and I can't help but feel like it's partially my fault that he lost so much of his life. I'm almost certain that part of the reason he even stayed with my egg donor for so long was because of me. He was going through physical and emotional abuse on a daily basis, and a significant portion of it was to protect me from her as well. I'm pretty sure if he didn't love me as much as he did, and if he wasn't so scared how much worse my egg donor would treat me without him around to protect me, he would have left much sooner. I feel terrible about the idea of him being happy finally and me ruining it with the truth. John, what the hell do you think? What's going on here?
A-hole or not, I think, OP, not the a-hole. OP was just thrown into this scenario. OP's dad, also not the a-hole.
No, he has no idea.
Seems like he has no idea, and it seems like he has done so much for his daughter, which is beautiful. Egg donor, the mom, definitely seems like the a-hole on a million different areas. Only one that's questionable is the ex-girlfriend, because it's like, how did she not know?
Yeah.
That's very suspect.
Yeah. But I would love to know what you guys think. Put it in the comments.
This is probably one of the craziest stories you've ever heard. I also want to know if anyone in the comments has experienced anything similar, because we've read, damn near 1,000 stories.
Oh, yeah.
And this one is just perplexingly insane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Please let us know what you think. But John, I want to know what you think about this next story that you're about to read.
We've got another family drama, but this time $8 million is on the line.
That's a lot of cash.
Yeah, it is.
My 18-year-old niece just got engaged to a 36-year-old man.
No.
I, 33 male, have a pretty big age difference with my brother, 44 male. He had a child at 25, which means I became an uncle at 14. I was 13 when my youngest brother was born. He's just my kid brother. I call them kid brothers, and they get so mad at me when I refer to them as that. Because we were pretty close in age, I formed a special bond with my niece, Ella, now 18 female. By the way, this comes from alternate suite 1468 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So when she was 16, my brother and his family moved away, so I have been seeing them less recently. But we kept in touch and kept up at family events. Last year at Christmas, my niece told me that she had a boyfriend and told me a bit about him, but I didn't know the guy. He was invited for Easter and a couple of the other events, but was never able to make it. When we were planning our mother's birthday, my brother decided to invite Ella's boyfriend so that we could meet them all. Nice. Okay. Yesterday was a birthday. I was looking forward to meeting Mark, Ella's boyfriend, but was very confused when I saw her walk in with a man that looked double her age. Spoiler alert, he is. She introduced him to me. I politely smiled, but deep down was very concerned. I went to my brother to ask him how old Mark was, and he told me that Mark is 36, so literally double Ella's age. She had told me that he was a bit older, but I assume like early to mid 20s, not almost 40. But that's when they called us in the living room to share some exciting news. Ella showed us a ring and revealed that they were getting engaged. I just said, "What the F?" And everyone turned around and looked at me like I was crazy. I told them that they were out of their minds if they thought that this was normal, and that there was no way in this world in which a 30-something would date a 18-year-old and that she shouldn't be getting married. All of them accused me of ruining Ella's happiness. Some even said I was jealous of Mark, which is so effing disgusting, I can't even explain it. I mean, I'm younger than Mark, but never in a million years would I ever consider dating someone younger than 25. They told me that it was perfectly legal. They were both just adults, which isn't true because they've been dating for a year, and Ella turned 18 7 months ago, and that if they were happy, that's all that matters. I told them that they were sick for allowing this and that he was a predator, but they wouldn't listen. I know this isn't my business, but I can't help but fear for Ella. She is young and doesn't really know what she's getting into. I'm really scared for her getting married and being unable to leave him when she realizes how sick it was. When I left and slammed the door, and have been receiving pretty wild messages and calls since then. I don't know if I was wrong for this, but am I just overreacting? And if I wasn't wrong, I don't know what I can do to make them realize how it is wrong. Am I the a-hole? And we got a freaking update, dude. We got a freaking update. I think everyone in that room is out of their mind, and you cannot do anything to change anyone's mind.
I mean, yeah, at that point, once they've said, like, all that matters is that she's happy, you're just jealous of him. Like, that's when it's like wild. Sanity has left the atmosphere of this place. Like, there's no reasoning with people. Like, is he super rich? Is that
no?
The
he's
caveat?
just a manipulator. He's just a manipulator.
I just can't imagine a family actually supporting this unless they were just being like super greedy and being like, oh yeah, he's a big millionaire. Like, we don't even care how just unbelievably unacceptably creepy this is.
You know what? These parents, I can't even say anything because they have failed as parents at this point. Black hole. They're in the black hole too.
I don't even know where they go.
If I was OP, I probably would be doing some petty things to make sure this doesn't happen.
I mean, he said that he has a close relationship with his niece, right? Like, I would be going to her and trying to have just a heart-to-heart, being like, so, I don't know if your parents ever had this conversation with you.
And then have that, And I would even go, I'd go to the internet. I'd be going to TikTok, dude. I'd be doing a get ready with me and being like, hey, this is what happened. We need to stop this. A police investigation. Update. If you didn't see my previous post, here's a TLDR. So, I've been taking the past 24 hours to really reflect on all of this. I try to take in the most of the advice in the comments. Here's what I've decided. I do not think that me telling her and everyone that their relationship is weird was wrong. I do, however, think that I did it wrong and that it was pretty harsh because it was in the heat of the moment. But I still find this very creepy and don't think she should get married. What I have decided to do is this. Apologize to her. I sent her a text saying I was sorry for my outburst and that I should have thought it through beforehand. I told her that I never wanted her to make her feel like I didn't want her to be happy. And I love her very much. And I had her best interest in mind. Nice. I like this response.
You got to find your way back because now she's defensive with you.
I asked her if we could talk about this. I asked if she would be okay and free to hang out and maybe get coffee this week to talk about all of this with a clear head. I really want to try and get together with her to show her how it's weird and maybe marrying him isn't the best choice. I explained myself to my brother. I sent him a text saying that I was sorry for the way I said it, but that I still thought that it needed to be said. I explained to him why I think Mark is a predator and that this relationship could have a very negative and damaging impact on Ella. I'm still waiting on the replies. I'll update when they reply or when I see Ella if she accepts, depending on how long it will take. And we take time out of our days to go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Where, Dakota?
On YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. All you got to do is tap our profile on any one of those respective platforms.
Yeah.
And you're in the live.
And we might even be live right now.
But before you go check, let's finish this story.
We have an update.
I think we've said everything that needs to be said in terms of like, this is completely unacceptable. I think now if OP wants to kind of figure out how to, alter the outcome of this, you got to do exactly what he's doing. You got to have the heart-to-heart, go to the coffee shop. He's right in that the way that he executed that is now going to make it more difficult to pull it off. But I think you still have to try and, just be the voice of reason here.
Oh, yeah. In the meantime, I really want to thank everyone who has been giving me advice, and it was constructive and really tried to help my niece out of the situation. I also send my best to all of the people in the comments sharing similar stories when they were the teenager going to the dog cleaners. I'm so sorry this happened to you, and I really hope you're doing better now. I am checking for an update at this freaking moment right now. There's no way there's not an update.
The update better be that they didn't get married and that they broke up. What business does a 36-year-old man have hanging out with a 17-year-old? It would be weird if I was hanging out with a 17-year-old who wasn't a girl. That would just be weird. And I'm not even 36.
And people would be like, what are you doing hanging out with a high schooler, Dakota?
Yeah, you're a grown man.
Why did nobody ever say anything about that? We got an update. Update number 3. I know it's been a while since I posted the last update, and a lot of people have been requesting updates on the situation. But until now, I hadn't really received any news. So please forgive me if this update took a while to come. Since my conversation with Ella,
oh, here we go, baby.
I told her I would check on her once or twice a week and ask how things were, and she'd always tell me pretty much the same as what she told me a month ago. Basically, there was many red flags. She was getting more and more uncomfortable in her relationship, but she also didn't know how to break up with him. Just high five me that she knows that there's a problem.
Yeah, I don't want a high five, just a light fist bump.
Okay.
Because
we made progress.
I'm upset that she's in a creepy, uncomfortable relationship.
Yeah,
but
me
I'm
too.
glad that she is seeing the light.
Yeah.
I wish you would have seen it sooner.
I tried to give her some advice, but eventually told her that I thought she should do it when she felt comfortable. Yesterday, I called her to know what she had planned on Christmas and if she'd be coming to the Christmas dinner that I was hosting, and if Mark would be coming. That's when she told me that she and Mark had broken up with him the evening before. High five now?
Yes! That's high five worthy. Yes!
She was pretty shaken up, so I didn't ask for too much details and asked if she wanted to come by my house for a while. She said that Mark had left to stay with his family when she told him, so she was okay staying home. This is maybe not a very detailed update, but here's what I know. She told me that he had been getting angry at her all week for small things. They're starting to pop up. And then they were talking about Christmas, and he insisted that they shouldn't go with Ella's family and instead spend a week with his family because they see them less often. They live out of state. And after that, he made a comment about how he hoped that next year, as a present, they could give his mother a grandchild. And Ella said that really made her want to break up with him.
This guy just gets worse and worse. Hey, let's give my mom a gift of you being pregnant immediately within the next 3 months. Yeah, no. What? You don't give someone a grandchild as a Christmas gift, you freak.
That is crazy. That is insane.
Dude, thank God she got out of there.
And she also told me that she would be coming along for Christmas. I don't know what she told him or how he reacted, and maybe she'll tell me more in a while when she feels better. And if not, I won't ask her. But if I get more information, I'll edit this post. But for now, that's it. Again, thank you for anyone who gave advice and tried to help with the situation. Okay, great. I'm okay without the details, but thank freaking gosh she broke up with him.
Holy crap, dude. But that is the end of that story.
I caught my son hooking up with my brother's wife, and then it somehow got worse.
I decided to join in.
I, 44 female, walked in on my son, 18 male, hooking up with my sister-in-law, 34 female, who is my brother's wife, in a cabin, and I think they have been doing it for a while. My brother, 37 male, moved in with us in February with his wife and 2 children. My husband, 44 male, and I have a big house on a farm. My husband is a farmer. And everyone was working from home, so we thought it would be a good chance to stay together as a family for my nieces to spend time on the farm. Now, I have 3 children, and all of them live with us. Oldest is 18 male, and the other 2 are 16 female and 13 female. On the day my brother arrived, I wanted to get groceries with my son, and we went to the pharmacy to get his gym supplements, and I bought the grocery food.
His gym supplements. He's probably a beefcake, this 18-year-old.
Oh, yeah, just lifting those weights.
Yeah. You like this, brother's wife? You like these guns?
He's just like, oh, look at that. You got some little definition there. He's just sitting outside of the family's room. Uh-oh. Yeah. 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 I saw some protection in my son's plastic bag.
Huh.
I saw them when we arrived at the house. 2 packs of 36 each. So 72 in total. I mean, that's a lot.
Hey, What else are you going to do during COVID? What else are you going to do in a cabin in the woods, huh?
He's laying it down, apparently.
Yeah, he's laying down some pipe.
I didn't think anything of it. I thought he had just gotten a girlfriend and wanted to be safe. Everything was fine and everyone got along. My sister-in-law and son would go on an early run around the farm and everything seemed totally normal until...
Oh, gosh.
last month when they left their run, but I was baking and I never saw them make the rounds around the farm, which was weird. You know, they're not running the usual path.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they found a new Strava, running guide.
There's plenty of Strava running guides.
You know, they're exploring something else.
Yeah. Circles
like
around the bedroom.
I asked them about it and they decided to hit the road. My sister-in-law and son seemed to have a very good bond. Yesterday, I came home from a friend's house early in the morning and the sun wasn't up yet. And it was a little dark, but I saw the cabin that we had on the farm was open and the light was on. I thought maybe one of the employees had just forgotten to lock it up. So I went to close the door and switch off the light. But as I got closer,
Oh, no.
I heard people doing it and I took a peek and I discovered it was my son and sister-in-law.
Oh, no. What did she say?
Room for one more.
Oh, no. John.
Hey, you started it.
I would never say anything like that.
Roll it back, editor. Roll it back.
And somehow it got worse. I decided to join in.
Now, you want to know what the OP did?
What did OP do?
I didn't confront them because I was so in shock. Now, I still haven't told anyone what I saw and I don't know what to do. Should I confront them? Should I tell my brother? Should I tell my husband? I am so confused.
You should definitely tell your brother, bro.
Yes.
Family before the hose.
I've been doing a lot of thinking and I'm sure that they've been doing it for a while. My son was always at the house and never brought over a girlfriend. In the morning runs around the farm, do they really go on the run or are they just doing it? The close relationship, etc. There's a lot of evidence stacking up.
Yeah, they've been doing it for ages.
But there's something else, Sam.
Tell me there's an update.
There's an update.
Wait, but really quick, she should tell the brother for sure, right?
Yes, of
100%,
course she
yeah.
should. First, want to thank everyone for the advice I got in the original post. I'll try to keep this update short. As was suggested by many of the comments, I decided to tell my husband first and proceed from there. My husband lost it. At first, he thought it was a joke, which is reasonable because that's a crazy thing to happen. We talked about the issue and we decided that we should first talk to our son before talking to my brother. We confronted our son with what I saw. He already knew what was going on because he saw my Reddit post and put 2 and 2 together.
Yo.
Wow.
His heart must have sunk when he read that Reddit post.
He did not deny anything. He told us him and the sister-in-law have been doing it since last February while he was still 17.
Yikes.
My brother said it started on the sister-in-law's birthday he attended where they got wasted and started doing it in the bathroom, and they've been having meetings at hotels and sneaking off at family gatherings ever since. After my son's confession, my husband just lost it and told my son to leave the house and go to our condo in town as he didn't want to see him in front of him at this moment. When my son was gone, my husband stormed into my brother's room and told my brother everything.
Wow.
And at this moment, the sister-in-law was not at the house. My brother lost it, packed his stuff, and took the kids. They have kids, and left. He asked where my son had gone and said he wanted to teach him a lesson. Woo-wee. Man.
This is some country freaking justice.
We didn't tell him, and he eventually left. Sister-in-law didn't return. I think my brother might have called her, or my son warned her, and she's afraid to come back. Her things are still at the house. In all the screaming and shouting, my daughters heard everything and are devastated that their family might be ruined, and they miss their brother and are afraid my husband won't ever let him in the house again. My husband hates all forms of infidelity to the core and has always drilled this into our 2 eldest heads, that they must never cheat on anyone or be in a relationship with someone else in a relationship. I know I did nothing wrong in this, but how will I ever look my brother in the eye again? He won't answer calls or texts. My husband said I should just leave him, give him time to heal. My son has left the condo because he's afraid of what my brother will do to him. Dang, they're on site with it. Like, this is crazy. And he's now hiding at a friend's house, and he won't tell us which friend. No word on the sister-in-law.
How to fuck up your family 101.
I mean, there is no more effective method.
No. This really is, you go nuclear. You know, if you want to destroy your family, that's how you do it. I don't think OP did anything wrong. It's just such a fucking hard situation.
It's tough.
Like, the fallout sucks.
She was handed the flaming bag of crap
sandwich.
You know what I
she had
mean?
to
It's
eat
like literally, like
Shit
what
it out
else?
again.
What else can you do? You had to tell him. It's not a good situation.
Not at all.
If you thought this was crazy, check out this one where Opie finds out they're dating their brother.
My sister hates our father's girlfriend, so she plans to set him up on a blind date.
Love is blind. Shout out to that.
I, 23 male, have two younger siblings, Anna, 21 female, and Chloe, 19 female. We've always been close. Our parents split up when I was 9, and our mom became pretty much a deadbeat. I've seen her maybe 5 times in the last 10 years. So my dad, 50 male, raised us, and it's pretty much always been us and him. Even after he started dating Fiona, 44 female, when I was 15, our dynamic stayed mostly the same, and there were pretty much no issues, aside from just adjusting. By the way, this comes from user deleted, and you can submit your stories to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, Chloe recently moved out after living at home for her first year at college, and a few months later, my dad announced that he and Fiona were engaged and going to get married. In my opinion, everyone expected this would happen since they were together so long, but Anna was very upset. She's been complaining to everyone about it for weeks, but mostly me. She says it's like he was just waiting for us to all grow up and get out of the house so that he could move in his new woman and be a family with her instead. She also doesn't like that there's almost 7 years of an age gap between them because he and our mom were high school sweethearts and our mom was actually a few months older, so she feels like our dad is replacing her with a younger model. Side note, she's never liked Fiona because she was still hoping my parents would get back together when he and Fiona started dating. Mom was less of a deadbeat then. Anna also thinks that there isn't much passion between them because every time she was over at our place, they barely touched or just treated each other like polite acquaintances since we were kids. She also doesn't see why he has to move her in before they're even married because Fiona's financially well off and doesn't need the stability. She wants to be able to spend this summer with just our dad and us without anyone else moving in yet. She told me the other day that she's planning on trying to set him up with one of her friends' single mom instead, who she feels is much more age appropriate and likable than Fiona, and whom she thinks he'd have more chemistry with. She's planning on telling him this weekend and wants me to back her up. I just lost my patience and told her to leave me out of this and that she's ruining his life by trying to set him up on some blind date as if he's a child. She started crying and told me all she wants is what's best for him because Fiona's the wrong woman and he's making a mistake. But I said I don't see how this would help when he's already engaged and that she's being stupid. She called me an a-hole for being so harsh and hasn't talked to me since then. So yeah, I don't know what Anna's on.
I think she's there's something here there's correlation to just having anger but like it's way too much.
I mean, this is not even the same sister. This is a different sister. This is the others. The other sister is just pissed. And now this one wants to set up a blind date, but it's like the rationale is weird because it's like, I don't know, they never seem that close. It's like, yeah, probably because his daughter's being present. It's like he's not going to like go out of the way to be like lovey-dovey PDA with his new woman.
They probably talked about it too, like, oh, they're not accustomed to this, or like don't like make it weird for them because they make them uncomfortable. So it's just like a lot of
let's not be overly affectionate around the children. It was probably a discussion.
Yeah.
I admit part of me is also bummed that we won't have as much of my dad's time anymore and that things are about to change dramatically. So I wonder if I should have been more validating or supportive of Anna. But I just don't think our dad did anything wrong or that talking him out of this will do any good. Am I the a-hole? I'm going to say no.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
But there is an edit to add, so let's get into that. The main reason I'm second guessing myself is because I too would love another summer with just our dad, but I have my own place now, so it's not like I have nowhere to go if things get unbearable with Fiona here. I don't think they will. She's always let us kids just do our own thing, so it's not that big of a deal to me. I also do see where Anna's coming from about him and Fiona not being very romantic in front of us. Our parents were much more touchy-feely. I don't know if this means she's the wrong woman or not, but to be honest, since my dad doesn't seem to care, I don't either.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, there it is.
Easy.
I don't see her as another parent or anything, but we've personally never had a problem with each other. And I don't think Chloe does either. I do agree my dad deserves to do what he wants to be happy at this point. And now we have an update.
Yeah.
Sounds like his perspective is the right one,
Dad's,
honestly.
guess what? Dad's an adult and he can make his big boy decisions.
Yeah. I think they've been together long enough that if they weren't going to work out, he'd know it. And I can almost guarantee that they had a discussion where it was like, well, we don't want the kids to feel weird, so maybe let's be a little hands-off around the children,
Yeah.
which
That's perfectly fine.
honestly is the
That's
correct
way, yeah.
protocol always.
Don't make things
Yeah.
weird.
Here's the update. Thanks to everyone who shared all the advice. A lot has gone down, so I thought I should update. I tried talking to Anna once more about not doing the whole blind date thing, but she refused. So as folks suggested, I went and told my dad. I had to warn him about something. So as folks suggested, I went and told my dad that I had to warn him about something. Here's where I maybe messed up a bit. Fiona was there, and maybe I should have said it privately, but there was no time. He asked what was wrong, and I just couldn't get the words out. So I said it's about the engagement and that it was best he heard it from Anna. Well, of course, he went to her room to get her. We all sat in the living room. Chloe was already watching TV there, and after some coaxing from him, she just exploded and started crying that it wasn't fair. Things were happening too fast, and he just decided to get engaged without even consulting us.
See, I kind of called that one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where I feel like that's what I meant earlier is that they needed to talk because things are like I think you're a little confused. I was like, yeah, this is bad. This is fast.
Yeah.
And it's bottling up. There's something connecting over there. There's like, it's gonna bottle up.
I just don't feel like it's that fast, dude. It's been years. It's been years and years.
But guess what? For kids,
It's been 9 years.
For kids, I don't know. For some, it just depends. I don't know. Sometimes you can't accept
9 years? You see it coming. 9 years?
Sometimes
you should see it coming.
Sometimes kids just don't want to accept it.
Yeah. She said he just decided to get engaged without even consulting us, which he doesn't need to do. And we were just supposed to go along with it like we're still children. I'm confused. What's the other option? She said we never consented to our mom leaving us and had no say in them getting back together, so that we should have at least had a say in who he started dating next. Please note, this is not what I personally feel.
I think, okay.
Which is true because that's not right. And this is clearly being said from a place of like trauma.
This is, yeah.
And abandonment or whatever.
This is correlating from something so much deeper than what she's saying.
Yeah. Therapy is needed.
Yes.
Therapy time. Anyway, my dad just looks shell-shocked. Seeing his face made me feel god-awful. He looked silently at Fiona, and she silently burst into tears. This scared me because I've never even seen her cry. My dad's rarely weepy, and I've even seen him cry more. Dad held her hand, and she just kept sobbing. I told you. It felt worse. I felt worse. One nice thing was Chloe got emotional to see this, so she actually went over and gave Fiona a hug. I felt like doing it too, but thought it'd be weird. My dad hugged Anna and said he was sorry he never realized how she felt. He said it's too late to set him up with anyone. I managed to have Anna add this. If he was going to be with anyone, it would be Fiona. But if this engagement was really hurting her, the two of them would talk about whether it could be postponed. He did say it's a done deal that she's moving in this summer, though, since she already ended her lease and made arrangements. Long story short, he arranged family therapy.
There we go. So this is, again, okay.
It's good. It's good. This is the best thing that can happen. That's good.
This is the best thing that can happen. I know,
it's good.
Especially with kids, they just don't want to talk about their feelings and don't want to talk about things and just like let things just brush under the rug.
Yeah.
And I think when you get confronted by an adult, like, hey, how are you feeling? And usually kids are like, meh, I'm all right. Well, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there, Chief.
Yeah.
Chief. Big Chief.
Yeah. And now it's all coming out.
Fiona actually suggested it and said she was willing to participate if it would help. I don't think I need therapy, but I think I'm going to do it just to help. Chloe agreed, and Anna hasn't said anything since this happened, but I think that's a sign that she's accepted it. Things were okay for the rest of the evening. Thank God, no blind date. Dad asked if I was okay and thanked me for doing this. He said he was proud of me, and I teared up a little bit. He and Fiona sat on the porch for the rest of the night with his arm around her. I'm honestly relieved. Things have been calm since then. Anna is still quiet, but at least she's not avoiding us or objecting to therapy. The first session starts early July, and he's booked it for the 4 of us for now. Thanks for all the support, everyone. I'm really hopeful things will get better from now on. And by the way, did you know that you can listen to full episodes with stories like this? All you have to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from and search OK Storytime. And there you will find us. You'll find a lot of us.
Find us.
And you can listen
Peekaboo.
intently.
Do it.
So there's a little bit of story left, but Keon, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling kind of warm inside. Like this is,
Oh yeah?
yeah, this is very nice. This is solution is being figured out. The family's talked. You know, everyone is getting in on it, and I like how the father's like, oh, I didn't realize, you know, because he didn't listen or didn't want to not necessarily ask about how his daughters were feeling, but like he didn't.
He just wasn't aware.
He wasn't aware, and that sometimes happens because there was no communication there. Because again, at the end of the day, how are you feeling, sweetie? Meh, I'm all right. I'm gonna go to my room now. Bye.
Yeah, that can happen. That can certainly happen.
So reaching out, I think that's the case in point here is just reach out to talk to, even if it's a child or a loved one, even if they say they're all right, like, are you actually okay? Like, are you okay, Dakota?
Yeah.
Oh, see, he's not okay.
I'm actually great.
Good. Me
I
too.
think.
Okay.
I think I am.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm stressed out about all the dust in the air.
Oh, that's a different thing. Okay. Well,
Okay.
let's go to the.
Okay, let's finish this off. Edit to add, while it's true that my dad never asked us for permission to date Fiona, I remember him saying many times that he was starting a relationship and that his biggest hope was for us to be okay with it. And if not, he'd do whatever it took to help us get there. We weren't necessarily thrilled, but I know none of us had objected, though maybe Anna just didn't think that it would stick. I don't know. I also don't think they should have to postpone their marriage, but if that's what everyone sees fit to do, then I won't object. I will really quickly just say that, you know, I get being like, I want my kids to be comfortable with like the next person I'm dating, but it's like, they can't be like allowed to make that decision for you.
No, I think it's a conversation with all three or like whoever your children are. Like, how do you feel about my partner? And like, you're like, hey, like, I want to hear your voicing and your reasoning and all that. But because that's that family too, that they're a family first, and they want to be comfortable with the person you're dating.
Yeah.
Obviously, in this case, thankfully, Fiona wasn't a bad person. Fiona was a very caring person and respected them. But I think that's what needed to happen at the beginning was communication and talking with the girls and seeing how they feel in general.
Edit to add, number 2, just want to clarify that my dad and Fiona are still engaged. No one has called off or postponed the marriage yet, which I'm glad about. Postponing was just something my dad suggested in order to take more time to help Anna if it was needed. But they're definitely still getting married, and he made it clear he'd never marry anyone but her. I did make it clear during the whole confrontation that these were just Anna's thoughts, and I don't share them.
I like that the most, that Opie was like, this has nothing to do with me, and it's not, I have no thoughts.
This is her. Not me. Her. It's hers. These are her thoughts.
But, yeah, no, I think I'm also good on, you know, the adults here and being like, we can postpone it if it doesn't make you comfortable, and we can be more of a family. And I feel like once Anna's like, yes, or like, not necessarily get her blessing, but it's kind of getting her blessing.
Yeah.
So, but that's the end of that story.
If you want more stories like this, search for our podcast, OK Storytime, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.